Chapter 1175. In the blink of an eye, another 10 days had passed. Everything was peaceful. Both the Qin and Shang dynasties needed time to recuperate while the Celestial Empire remained dormant. In the past month, Lin Muyu had been working hard and preparing for war. What he did the most was to prepare provisions and weapons. Qin Yin and Tang Xiaoxi had also come from Xishan province and brought 150,000 elite soldiers to help Lin Muyu defend the 3 provinces in the south. To the Qin Empire, these 3 provinces were the backlands of the Qin Empire. They had to be defended well, otherwise they would not be able to establish a foothold in this foreign land. Spring had arrived, but there was no sign of spring in the world. Every 3 to 5 days there would be a heavy snowfall, and the temperature was always fluctuating around the melting ice and snow. Hongyan City was a strong city. When He Song ruled Hongyan City, he was cruel and merciless. He captured civilians and sacrificed them for wolf souls. This caused a lot of complaints. However, after the Qin Empire occupied Hongyan City, they immediately issued a notice to pacify the people. They copied thousands of imperial charters and distributed them to all the prefectures and prefectures. They ordered the entire nation to follow the constitution and rule the country according to it. After all, even the empress had to follow this decree. Thus, the entire society became orderly. What the people needed was actually very simple: a sense of security, a guarantee of life and fairness. Lin Muyu's injuries gradually healed. Although the speed was much slower than expected, it was still better. Early in the morning, Ren Baqin, who was wearing the marshal's cloak, slowly walked out of his room and came to the bitterly cold courtyard. He saw that the peach blossoms in the courtyard had not bloomed yet. Only the small flower buds were covered with snow. If the weather continued to be cold, it was likely that they would not bloom this year. Those flower buds would freeze to death as the weather changed. Sigh. Lin Muyu looked up at the peach branches and couldn't help but sigh. The weather was still cold. This could only mean that the aura of the demonic world was still surging and seeping into the 6 realms. Although the heavenly punishment had passed, the chaos was still there. "You're up?" Behind him, Qin Yin's gentle laughter could be heard. "Come, drink some hot soup first." "Thank you, Xiaoyin." Lin Muyu turned around and took the soup. She then looked at Qin Yin's beautiful face and said, "Xiaoyin, is there any news from the West Mountain Province and the Kingdom of Shang?" "Not yet." Qin Yin blinked her eyes and said, "For the time being, General Feng, Chen Feng, and Ding Shi are watching over there." "It's okay. Brother Yu, the most important thing is to take good care of your body." Lin Muyu drank a mouthful of soup and continued to look at the peach branches. "This year's peach blossoms won't bloom." "Yeah, maybe." Qin Yin clenched her fists and looked at the footprints on the snow. She said thoughtfully, "Brother Yu, have you ever considered—" "What did you consider?" "Hand over the military power and let Wei Chou control the Longdan army camp and Baizhe mercenaries?" Qin Yin said carefully, "I'm worried about your body, so don't waste your energy." Xiaoxi thinks the same. Lin Muyu couldn't help but smile. She looked down at her and said, "Xiaoyin, you're not worried about my body. You're worried about my confidence, right? After the defeat at Red Rock City, are you worried that I'll develop a psychological fear of Qinyu?" Qin Yin stammered, tacitly agreeing. Lin Muyu placed the bowl on the stone table and stepped forward to support Qin Yin's shoulder. She looked straight at her and said, "That's right, Qinyu is very strong, so strong that I don't have the confidence to defeat him. But Xiaoyin, you must know that Qinyu is a hurdle for me. He used a scheme to kill my general, Su Jiantao. If I can't overcome this hurdle myself, if I can't defeat Qinyu and use his blood as a sacrifice to Su Jiantao, I'm afraid I'll regret this for the rest of my life. I'll be ashamed to face Su Jiantao's spirit in heaven. But, don't worry, hatred won't make me lose my cool. I've already recovered." Lin Muyu smiled, her clear eyes filled with incomparable confidence. Qin Yin smiled as well. Just as Lin Muyu had said, the invincible Lin Muyu had returned. Slowly sitting down on the cold stone bench, Qin Yin ran her fingers through her hair and said gently, "Brother Yu, are you planning to start a war with the north and south?" "Yes." Lin Muyu's eyes shone like torches. Feng Jixing, Chen Feng, and Ding Shi are guarding the West Mountain Province. There's a total of 500,000 soldiers, more than enough to suppress and even destroy Yangshang's army. What I need to do is to delay Qinyu here, not allowing him to make any rash moves. I'll wait for Big Brother Feng to destroy the Kingdom of Shang and take control of the Blackstone Empire and the Tianji Empire. When the time comes, the North and South will march east together and destroy the Celestial Empire will only be a matter of months." "Do you have any plans?" "Yes." Lin Muyu naturally trusted the Empress wholeheartedly and said, No matter how resourceful Qinyu is, most of his troops are new recruits, and it's a very objective fact that they lack combat strength. Therefore, as long as Qinyu mobilizes his troops and the Forest of Never Return attacks Feng Jixing and Qianfeng, I'll have a chance. Setting off from the eastern pass of Hongyan province, the light cavalry will be able to approach Scorching Han City within 2 days. If Qinyu dares to attack Feng Jixing, I'll immediately launch a surprise attack on his lair. Without the support of Scorching Han City, Qinyu's 800,000 soldiers will naturally collapse. Aren't you worried that Qinyu will feign an attack and set up an ambush midway? Lin Muyu laughed. Even my Xiao Yin can predict that Qinyu will use this strategy, so why would Qinyu show off his slight skill in front of an expert? Qin Yin couldn't help but grumble coquettishly and laughed. Are you saying that I'm stupid? Not at all. Lin Muyu held her warm little hand and said, I'm just stating the facts. Xiao Yin isn't stupid, but I don't want you to get involved in this treacherous world of conspiracies. Where's Xiao Shi? She disappeared early in the morning. Oh, she and Yao went out to buy some vegetables. She said that she wanted to personally buy some fresh vegetables to cook for you to nourish your body. There are so many chefs in the spiritual fire department, yet they actually need to personally cook. It's a different kind of intention. All right. Not long after, bustling noises could be heard from outside. It seemed that Si Kongyao and Tang Xiaoxi had returned. The two girls' personalities were inclined towards liveliness, so it was extremely lively when they were together. Lin Muyu and Qin Yin immediately walked out of the courtyard. As expected, in the courtyard of the mansion, Tang Xiaoxi and Si Kongyao walked side by side. Si Kongyao was extremely excited. She said, Big brother, I brought someone back. Guess who it is? Oh. Here? Si Kongyao moved aside and behind her was a travel-worn girl. She was wearing the clothes of a noble girl in Tianji City, but the hem of her skirt was covered in mud. It was obvious that she had a bumpy journey. Her face was considered delicate and pretty, and she looked very familiar. Lin Muyu recognized her at a glance. She said in astonishment, Miss Shang Qian? It was the eldest miss of the Shang family. After Shang Qian saw Lin Muyu, her eyes couldn't help but redden. She bowed and said, Shang Qian greets the marshal. Why so polite? You are the marshal, you are no longer that person. Shang Qian moved her red lips. She said, and I am just the daughter of a destroyed country, a pitiful person with a broken family. What is going on? Lin Muyu was puzzled. Si Kongyao said, Big brother, don't you know? The Chamber of Commerce of Sister Shang Qian's family is called the Shang League. The business of Shang League used to control nearly 30% of the economic lifeline of Tianji Empire, and the Shang League was also known as the richest in the world. But later, Baiming Yuan was not the emperor anymore, and the new emperor Yangshang kept squeezing them until a few days ago. I made a secret agreement with Sister Shang Qian that the Shang League would secretly provide military rations to Xishan province. This matter was exposed and the whole Shang League was affected. Shang Qian's eyes were red. She said, 20 days ago my father and brother were killed. Because I was not in Tianji City, I was lucky to get the news. I mixed in with the refugees along the way, and after several troubles I came to Red Rock City. The servants following me also reduced from more than 70 at the beginning to 4 now. I have no relatives left, and Yao is the only one I can rely on. Behind Shang Qian, the 4 servants also looked travel-worn. One of them was even seriously injured, and half of his arm was chopped off. It seemed that they had really experienced hardships along the way. Lin Muyu said apologetically, Miss Shang Qian, please restrain your grief. This matter started because of our Qin Empire. Please rest assured, the Qin Empire will not let the Shang League down. Yao, what are you going to do? Si Kongyao shook her head. I don't know for now. Let's arrange for Sister Shang Qian to stay in Red Rock City first. Okay. Lin Muyu nodded, and her expression was a little hesitant. Qin Yin, who was beside her, naturally knew what she was thinking, so she got close to her and whispered, I did hear the news that the whole Shang League was almost annihilated, and more than 300 people were killed. If it was a traitor, then the price was too high, and Shang Qian's despair was definitely not faked. Okay, I understand. Lin Muyu nodded and said, Shang League was once a famous clan. You must have friends all over the world in the business world. Shang Qian was startled, and that is indeed the case. Marshal, why are you asking this? Lin Muyu shrugged and said, I want to hand over the business lifelines of the 3 southern provinces to young Miss Shang Qian, and all the businesses in terms of clothing, food, housing, and so on and so forth will be provided to you through the channels of the government. You have to revitalize the economy of the Darkstone Empire as soon as possible. I wonder if young Miss Shang Qian is willing? Shang Qian was clearly very surprised. I am afraid. What? It is not that I am unwilling, but I am afraid that I am not capable enough. Shang Qian lowered her head and muttered, furthermore, why would Marshall trust a woman like me who had betrayed you all before? That is because we all serve our own masters. It is not considered betrayal. Now, is Miss Shang Qian willing to accept my invitation to become the #1 person of Great Qin's Shang League in Heaven's Pole? I am willing. Shang Qian looked at him with her clear eyes and said, it is just that the Blackstone Empire's territory has always been dominated by martial arts. They look down on merchants and even more so, look down on Shang League's business. Thus, the Shang League rarely interacts with the people of the Blackstone Empire, because they do not pay attention to the rules. Since Marshall and His Highness trust Shang Qian, then you must first agree to a condition of mine. Speak. Revise a commercial law to protect the interests of the Shang League. Only then can we fundamentally change the situation of the 3 southern provinces, as well as the people's opinion of the Shang League. No problem. Lin Muyu nodded, and Qin Yin, who was beside her, also smiled and said, the people from the Congress will discuss the drafting of this commercial law with Miss later. Shang Qian's eyes brimmed with tears and she bowed deeply. Thank you, Your Highness, thank you, Marshal, for giving me the opportunity to revitalize the Shang League. Chapter 1176. The Shattered Cauldron Realm had Jin Xiaotang, the Celestial Pole Continent had Shang Qian, and Lin Muyu knew how to make good use of people. However, it wasn't easy to formulate this commercial law. The people's level of civilization was far from meeting the requirements of the commercial law. However, there was no other way. They could only make every possible effort and reform the law first. If they didn't take this step, it would only get worse. 3 days later, the people from the Congress came. There were more than 10 people with an average age of 60 years old. Shang Qian also had a headache. These elders of the Congress were best at arguing. After arguing for 3 days and 3 nights, not even half of the originally planned 50 chapters of commercial law had been drafted. On the contrary, Shang Qian's eyes were red from working so hard. However, things were always like this in the world. Lin Muyu couldn't let Lulu copy the commercial law from Earth. After all, the situation was different, and it needed to be adapted to the local conditions. She could only trouble Shang Qian. After 7 days, the commercial law that would be implemented in the Celestial Pole Continent was finally finalized. It was immediately announced to the 4 provinces and implemented immediately. All the Shang League and the Chamber of Commerce were given the green light to support the development of the commercial economy. In the blink of an eye, another month passed. The 3 major forces were still recuperating. However, as the seasons changed and the weather slowly warmed up, it seemed that the 3 forces were already rubbing their palms. The strong smell of war had already begun to spread in the Celestial Pole Continent. During this time, Lin Muyu kept cultivating and looking for a way to break through. However, she still couldn't step into the God state from the Saint Heaven realm. Her strength had clearly reached it, but it seemed that she had encountered an insurmountable bottleneck. The Supreme Being personality in her body had also been sleeping and showed no signs of waking up. It was like a broken stone. During this time, 2 people obtained a demonic body and ascended to the demon god realm. One of them was the deputy commander under Yangshang Wu Chang. Wu Chang was originally a perfect celestial the arch with 98 heavenly caves. Now, he actually obtained a 2nd-class higher divine demon body and obtained the title, Wuji Demon God. He could be said to be the #1 expert in the entire Celestial Pole Continent. He was even much stronger than Longxi and Fillet. So much so that in Tianji City, it felt like he was trying to usurp the Lord's position. The other one was Song Liangqing of the Celestial Empire. This person was arrogant and domineering. He killed people like flies and obtained the demonic body of a 3rd-grade lower god. Although it was a demonic body of the lowest grade, he was still a demonic god without a title. This boosted the morale of the Celestial Empire. The demonic flames soared, and the righteous path declined. In the end, the first upright god did not appear. Looking at the common people of the 6 realms, there was actually no one who had the qualifications to obtain the upright god's Dharma body. In the afternoon, in the small courtyard, Lin Muyu had changed into a light robe and was practicing his swordsmanship. His posture was elegant and graceful. Streaks of sword chi flew around the surrounding soil, leaving marks on the ground and severing peach branches. In a pavilion at the side, the 4 great beauties, Qin Yin, Tang Xiaoxi, Chu Yao, and Si Kong Yao, were brewing tea and admiring the flowers. The peach blossoms in the courtyard did not bloom, but a few plum blossoms bloomed. Mu's sword technique can be considered superb, right? Tang Xiaoxi pouted and said. Yes. Qini nodded. Si Kongyao smiled and said, but no matter how strong brother is, he can't break through the shackles of the Saint Heaven realm. On the other hand, Wu Chang of the Celestial Pole continent has obtained a higher divine demon body. I really don't know how strong he is now. Yes, Longxi has already made us at a loss. That Wuji demon god is probably even more terrifying. At this time, Lin Muyu had already walked back with the Shenyuan sword in hand. She wiped her sweat and took a cup of tea from Tang Xiaoxi's hand, saying, Xiaoxi's tea art is getting more and more exquisite. Is that so? Tang Xiaoxi asked with a smile. Yes. Lin Muyu said, I heard what you said. Actually, you don't have to worry too much. The seal of the 6 realms has been broken, and demonic chi has been constantly leaking into the 6 realms just like this teapot. Look, there was originally no water in the teapot just like the 6 realms. At first there was only righteous chi and no demonic chi. However, the gate of the demonic world has opened, demonic chi has been born and demon gods have descended. At least half of the teapot needs to be filled with demonic chi to achieve balance. Only when demonic chi occupies half of the 6 realms will the heavenly Tao that belongs to the kind people appear. Yes. Tang Xiaoxi nodded as if she understood. Qinin said thoughtfully, what kind of place is the devil realm? Sister Haiyan has been gone for so long, I don't know how she is. Lin Muyu took a deep breath and wanted to say something but stopped on second thought. She didn't know how to comfort her. After all, she had never been to the devil realm, so she didn't know what would happen to Shi Yan there. The worst result was that Shi Yan would be devoured by demonic flames the moment she entered the devil realm. However, there was probably an even worse result, that was, Shi Yan would be demonized. What kind of terrible scene would that be? Shi Yan was one of the few powerhouses in the 6 realms. If she were to become a demon god, her power would probably be enough to destroy everything, right? The only thing worth hoping for was that the kindness in the depths of Shi Yan's heart might be able to save herself. Everyone was silent. Gurgle. Gurgle. The tea on the stove was boiling. The devil realm was a wasteland. Demonic flames filled the heavens and the earth, but the earth was a vast expanse. There were canyons and cracks everywhere, and huge clouds of demonic flames rose from the ground and went straight to the crack in the sky. The crack was the gap in the seal of the 6 realms, and the demonic energy entered the 6 realms in this way, beginning to dominate the laws of the 6 realms. In the horizon, rumbling lightning flashed. A resplendent scroll unfurled in the clouds, and a brand new name was imprinted on the heavenly book of demon sealing. Another person had become a demonic god. No one knew if this was a good or bad thing. Jejia, a bone-chilling scream came from the decaying forest. It was a man with a stooped back and spikes growing out of his back. Strictly speaking, he could not be considered a human, but merely had the appearance of a human. He crept forward in the decaying grass like a snake, occasionally sticking out his long forked tongue. He looked up at the heavenly book of demons sealing in the sky with a look of awe and veneration. Jejia, he screamed crazily again. His prey had appeared. It was under the giant tree in front of him. There was a simple man-made straw hut, and under the hut, a man wrapped in a huge leaf seemed to be resting. The spikes on his palms penetrated into the ground, reducing the sound of his crawling. He approached step by step, and his face was full of greed and excitement. With a roar, his face became extremely ferocious. His body was in the air, and his sharp claws swept towards the sleeping man, as if he wanted to tear him to pieces in an instant. Poof! The leaf was torn to pieces, but there was nothing inside. It was a fake body, there was nothing at all. He was slightly surprised. He looked up and saw a beautiful woman holding a sharp sword in her hand. Swish! The sharp sword glowed with the radiance of the moon and chopped down in a straight line. With a single strike, the man's arms were severed. Immediately after, the woman kicked him away and chased after him at lightning speed. She kicked his abdomen heavily, pinning him against a huge rock. Jejia? He waved his broken arms wildly. He wanted to resist, but he was powerless. The disparity in strength was too great. The long sword slowly pierced into his chest, getting closer to his heart. His screams became even more tragic. This sword was the Chiwa sword, and the woman was naturally Shi Yan. Tell me, where is the person who controls the devil flame? Shi Yan said faintly. Hiss hiss. He only screamed but did not speak. You'd rather die than surrender? Shi Yan smiled evilly and continued to push the blade into his heart. Ah! He finally screamed, I don't know anything. I'm just a small Mara. You won't get anything even if you kill me. You just need to tell me who is above you and where is he. Ziyin crack, 300 miles to the east. Devil General Ziyin, it's him, he's the one who created me. I don't know anything else. Let me go. Devil General Ziyin? Shiyin frowned. Suddenly, she flipped her wrist and the blade pierced through his heart. Ah! Mara screamed, his eyes filled with unwillingness. You said, you won't kill me? I'm just asking, I didn't say that I won't kill you just because you said it. It's all your own thinking. Shiyin pulled back the Chiwa sword. Her eyes were cold as she said, good and evil cannot coexist. The devil path must die. Mara kicked a few more times and died with his head tilted. Shiyin looked towards the east and murmured, Ziyin crack. Eva, will you be there? At this moment, a whistling sound came from behind. Balls of devil chi were rushing towards them. Humph, it's here again? Shiyin smiled coldly. As soon as she finished speaking, she turned around and stabbed the Chiwa sword into the rock stratum. It pierced through the rock stratum quickly and she leaped into the rock stratum. She raised her hand to seal the entrance of the cave. The whistling sound came from above. She had to preserve her divine power so that she wouldn't be devoured by the devil chi. What made Shiyin feel fortunate was that because she entered the devil world, she wasn't punished by the heavens. She still maintained her great perfection divine emperor cultivation. However, the power of the laws had weakened and her light divine power was slightly weaker than before. Shiyan's body trembled slightly when she heard the whistling sound from above. She was a god, but she wasn't omnipotent. Facing the absolute power of the devil world, she would also feel fear. Eva, you're definitely not dead, right? You're definitely not dead. I believe you. I will find you. She murmured to herself. Looking at the darkness around her, she sighed softly and said, Sheen and you, I hope you're all right. I'm sorry I can't protect you for the time being. 8 Wastelands World. The lightning vines and the blood clouds formed a huge tree that reached the sky. At the core of the tree a person was imprisoned. It was the 7 Luminaries Demon Emperor. The Demon Emperor had his eyes closed. He had aged a lot. His eyebrows and hair were mottled with white. However, he didn't age because his divine power had disappeared. Instead, it was because his divine power had been exhausted. The mysterious power in the lightning vines seemed to have a lingering function. It retained the Demon Emperor's cultivation, so that his divine power wouldn't disappear with the heaven's punishment. In this case, the Demon Emperor's divine power could provide an endless source of power for the demonic vines. However, the Demon Emperor's name wasn't recorded in the heavenly melody scroll of the Mahayana heavenly path. He was just a useless god. Look, he's the 7 Luminaries Demon Emperor, the ruler who once shook the 6 realms. Yes, it's him. A group of Mara appeared in the sky with their wings flapping. They held shiny knives and forks in their hands. They were in charge of guarding the 7 Luminaries Demon Emperor. Their daily routine was to mock him. The Demon Emperor slowly opened his eyes. His eyes were as unruly as before. He smiled coldly. What do you want to do with my divine power? The Mara laughed. One of them used a metal fork to poke the stone body of the Demon Emperor. Have you heard of the God-destroying pagoda? God-destroying pagoda? Yes. The Mara laughed cruelly. It's the God-destroying pagoda. It's the ultimate godly weapon of the demon realm. With your power as the source, once the Mahayana heavenly path's main gods appear, the God-destroying pagoda will kill them one by one. Ah! The Demon Emperor fell silent as flames of fury burst forth from his eyes. Motherf asterisk her. Chapter 1177. The star universe was silent. Strands of demonic flames flowed into the 6 realms from the gap in the seal. This time, along with the appearance of the demonic flames, there were also jia sounds that sounded like the mournful cries of vengeful spirits. Amidst the purple clouds, heavenly soldiers and heavenly generals, holding various kinds of weapons descended from the sky. Each of them had the power of a demon god, and their eyes were filled with ferocity and viciousness. Mara, the demon world, finally made a move. Under the situation where the god-sealing demon book could cover the sky with one hand, the densely packed Mara army surged into the 6 realms. Roar, roar, roar. The Mara all had different shapes and sizes, but they were all indescribably ugly. Their bodies were covered with scales and spikes, and their ugly eyeballs were rolling around. Stepping on the demonic flames, they came to the 6 realms. Suddenly, all of them stopped and waved their weapons towards the back. It was bustling as if they were welcoming some important person. The demonic flames became denser and denser, and the clouds rolled away. A person stepped on the air, riding on a ferocious tiger-like beast. In his hand was a war hammer that was suffused with blood-red flames. He wore black armor and his body was sturdy. Even his face was covered by an iron helmet. A pair of piercingly cold eyes looked at the Mara army in front of him through the gaps of the iron helmet. Suddenly, he raised his arm and growled, "Brats, tell me, which one should we start conquering the 6 realms first?" The Maras roared, but no one knew what to say. One of the Mara carrying a bow and arrow stepped forward on the demonic clouds and said, "Lord Demon General Theron, among the 6 realms, only the 8 Wastelands world still has spiritual energy. The last pillar of the Bahuang pillar is supported by the 7 luminaries Demon Emperor. If it wasn't for him, I'm afraid that the Heavenly Sound Scroll of the Mahayana Heavenly Tao wouldn't have the chance to enter the 6 realms. Why don't we destroy the 8 Wastelands world first, and kill all the crippled gods that are still in the Heaven Realm?" 7 luminaries Demon Emperor? Smoke puffed out of Theron's nose and mouth as he laughed. "No. Before I came here, the Holy King and Holy Emperor of the Demon Realm have already told me that the 7 luminaries Demon Emperor can't be killed. The supremacy in his body is still useful, and we need him to continuously supply the power of the god-slaying pagoda. As long as the 7 luminaries Demon Emperor is here, the god-slaying pagoda will be able to beat the fake Mahayana Heavenly Tao into submission." "Yes. Then, where should we attack now?" "Men, flip through the Heavenly Book and see where there are the most demon gods. That's where we will establish our foothold." A cold sneer could be seen in Theron's eyes as he said, "Since the demon realm has sent me to be the vanguard, I will have to destroy a region first to provide a foothold for the demon realm to enter the 6 realms. "Yes." Mara quickly summoned the demon-sealing Heavenly Book, and the names of the demon gods flashed through the purple book in the air. Finally, this Mara stooped and said, "Lord Demon General, the plains of the 6 realms have produced a total of more than 600 demon gods. Among them, the celestial pole continent has the most demon gods. There are as many as 5, and one of them has obtained a demon body of a 2nd-tier higher god." "2nd-tier higher god? Interesting." Theron smiled and his eyes were cold as he said, "Then let's do it this way. Pass down my order. The 20,000 Vanguard Mara will be divided into 10 teams. One team of 2,000 Mara will follow me to the celestial pole continent, and the rest will spread out and head to the 4 great celestial realms to kill those fallen gods who have yet to submit to the demon realm." "Yes." Streams of light spread out from the Star Universe dome. Gold. Looking at the brilliant celestial river in the distance, the people on top of the gold could no longer sit still. Fushi sat cross-legged and looked into the distance with a bleak gaze. He was neither sad nor happy, and his sleeves fluttered in the strong wind brought by the celestial river. Miue, who was at the side, could no longer sit still. She stood up and said, "Master, you must have seen it too. We can't continue sitting like this. The demon realm has already made a move. That demon general called Theron is going after little junior brother." "I saw it," Fushi said leisurely. "Miue, you are the most impatient. What do you think we should do?" Miue pursed her red lips and said, "Each Mara's strength is comparable to that of a 3rd-tier lower god. Once 2,000 Mara enter the celestial pole continent, how can little junior brother's mortal army resist them? Moreover, there is still Demon General Theron. Although Theron is only a lowly demon general, little junior brother is definitely no match for him." "Are you going to block the way and kill those Mara?" Fushi asked. "Yes." Miue held the sword beside her and said, "As long as Master gives the order, I will immediately go and kill them. Even if I can't kill all of those Mara, at least I can let the demon realm know that the gods of the 6 realms are not all dead." "Then what about the other 10 Maras?" Fushi said indifferently, "You only want to save you, but you have never thought about those mortals who are staying in the celestial realm. There are hundreds of thousands of fallen gods in the 4 great celestial realms. They have the title of gods, but they are just mortals. Can they resist the invasion of Mara? You only think about little junior brother, but you have forgotten the justice of the Mahayana Heavenly Way." Miue blinked her bright eyes and tightened her grip on the sword. "I cultivate the Taishu law of the heavens beyond heaven, not the Mahayana Heavenly Way. Even if I really cultivate the Mahayana Heavenly Way, I will only cultivate the law of, if others don't offend me, I will not offend them. Whoever dares to bully my little junior brother, I will make them look bad. What do you think, Master?" Fushi couldn't help but laugh. "Miue, oh Miue, I can't win against you in an argument, but the Dark Servant might be coming soon. Its attacks are getting more frequent and stronger, and the formation the 5 of us can't be left out. So, I will give the 4 of you 2 hours. You must return to the Gene Kingdom within 2 hours. As for how many Maras you can kill and which Maras to kill, it will depend on your intentions. The difference between gods and mortals is kindness. As long as you have kindness, it doesn't matter what you do. Yes. Miue was overjoyed, and the sword in her hand also seemed to be happy. She said to the other three, I will go to the Eastern Heaven Realm and kill Theron, who is bullying little junior brother. Senior Fan Yang, you go to the Western Heaven Realm. Junior Luan Xing, you go to the Northern Heaven Realm. Junior Hao Qin, you go to the Southern Heaven Realm. What do you think? There's no other way. How can we not follow the mission that second senior sister has given us? Hao Qin smiled. Wan Xing and Fan Yang also smiled. In the Eastern Heaven Realm, beams of light were shuttling through the universe at high speed, heading straight for the Celestial Pole continent. They were very fast, reaching the Celestial Pole continent in less than half a day. But it wasn't fast enough. Hua! A piercingly cold force rippled through the universe, and the hundreds of Maras who were charging at the front all crashed into a void wall. Bang, 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 sounds rang out incessantly, and more than half of the hundreds of people instantly turned into fiery red flowers, disappearing into thin air. The fragments of their corpses turned into sparks and scattered in the universe. Be careful. The Devil General Theron, who was at the front, hurriedly pulled on the reins, and the battle tiger he was riding on let out a furious roar, stopping in midair. In front of him, the void wall slowly glowed with light, transforming into a huge Taishu 8 trigrams constellation, and in the center of the constellation, a beautiful woman holding a long sword floated over. With a faint smile on her face she said, Dregs of the Devil World, where are you going? Theron's gaze was ice cold. Who are you? Why are you blocking our way here? I'm Miue, the second disciple of Great Emperor Fuxi. Fuxi's disciple? Theron's body trembled slightly and he said, What do you mean by this? Are you openly challenging the Devil World? Miue, even if you're Fuxi's disciple, don't think that we're afraid of you. The Devil World's army is gathering, and if you openly oppose us, I don't need to say more about your fate, right? Miue slowly pulled out her sharp sword, and her beautiful eyes were filled with coldness. In this life, I hate people who threaten me the most. Oh. Invisible waves of air rippled out, and her body turned into a beam of light, rushing towards Theron. She actually took the initiative to attack. No one would have thought that this seemingly delicate beauty would take the initiative to attack first. She was simply too fierce. A piercingly cold energy storm erupted in the starry sky. It was Theron's warhammer colliding with Miue's sharp sword. It was just a simple strike, but Theron was so shaken that he almost fell off the back of the war tiger, and black blood spurted out of his mouth. A red sword mark appeared on the warhammer, and if it wasn't for the fact that the warhammer was big enough, it would have been cut in half by Miue's sword. Miue floated in midair, and her temperament was elegant and she smiled faintly. It seems that the Devil World's gods aren't that great after all. You guys have plotted for so long and finally took advantage of Tianfa to start a rebellion, but I don't think you guys will succeed, hee. None of your business. Theron roared, and he waved his warhammer, and instantly, a piercingly cold flame storm appeared in the sky, directly blasting towards Miue. So fierce. Miue held her sword with one hand and with the other she casually waved it in front of her. Suddenly, a wave of Taishu power dissolved the storm Theron had created, and Miue threw a punch in the air. The armor in front of Theron's chest shattered, and a small fist mark went deep into the armor. One could even faintly hear the sound of bones breaking. Wah! Theron spat out a mouthful of blood and he held his warhammer as he retreated. He roared, What are you waiting for? Mara, go and kill her. The rest of you follow me to the Celestial Pole continent, and leave this place. Immediately hundreds of Mara swarmed forward. Miue gripped her sharp sword tightly, and fearlessly went up to meet them. Suddenly sword chi flew in the sky, and the screams of Mara could be heard. Compared to Miue's cultivation, these Mara were like ants. However, Theron also took this opportunity to quickly leave on his war tiger, leading hundreds of Mara directly in the direction of the Celestial Pole continent. Clang! The sharp sword cut off the handle of an axe, and Mara was cut into a blooming flower of fire. Miue's body spun rapidly, and an arc of sword chi swept out. Almost all of the Mara around her were killed, but at the same time, a virtual image appeared above her head. It was Fuxi. Ming is coming. Come back. But Master, Mara hasn't killed all of them yet. This is fate. I'll give you all time. Come back immediately. Otherwise, once Ming devours Jean, even the gods of the realm beyond heaven won't be able to save the situation. Yes. Miue looked at the starlight behind her unwillingly and said faintly, Little junior brother, senior sister can only help you this much. Please take care. Chapter 1178. In the 8 Desolates province, the mountains were covered in snow. The snow continued to fall tirelessly, causing people to wonder if it was still spring. On the snowy ground, a person was walking. He was dressed in a white robe and held a long staff made of dragon bones in his hand. His eyes were fixed on a cave in front of him. Over there, a nest of rabbits was already rumbling with hunger because they had not eaten for a long time. They were about to die. Tianfa, the punishment of all living beings. The long winter was still not over. Nothing could live, and this nest of rabbits was just one of the countless victims. The old man was silent. He flipped his palm lightly and instantly the snow on the ground beside him flew up. Wisps of withered grass seemed to be attracted and gathered in his hand. In the blink of an eye, a bundle of withered grass appeared in his hand. He crawled to the side of the cave and handed the withered grass into it. The nest of rabbits did not seem to be afraid at all and went forward to eat it. There was not a trace of violence on the old man's body. Even the small animals could feel the peaceful aura from him. Naturally, this was not a stranger. It was Chu-Chu. Chu-Chu had lived in seclusion in the mountains for many years and did not care about the affairs of the world. However, he had always been watching Tianfa. He also knew that there was a war between humans happening in the distance, and the initiators were Lin Muyu and Qinin. However, Chu-Chu could not help them. There was no justice in this war. Chu-Chu pitted all living beings. If he participated in the war, it would obviously go against his original intention. If he became a pawn of the war, then he would not be Chu-Chu. At this moment, streams of light suddenly flew past above his head and directly fell into the forest in the distance. Although Chu-Chu had lost his divine power, he could still sense those powerful auras. There were at least thousands of auras appearing in the Broken Cauldron world. Moreover, these auras were extremely evil and incomparably ruthless. The only explanation for the Devil Dao was the Devil Dao. Not too far away, Chu-Chu carried his staff and dashed over. When he arrived, he found that the entire forest had been destroyed. The appearance of these Mara was like a meteor, exploding a deep pit in the ground. It was unknown how many innocent lives had been lost because of this. Roar! The battle tiger beneath Demon General Theron let out an angry roar. The roar stirred up a wave of air that blew away the accumulated snow. At this time, Theron had already discovered Chu-Chu's presence. His eyes were cold as he smiled. "Old man, where did you come from?" Chu-Chu didn't say a word. He just stood there indifferently with the help of his walking stick. "What? Can't you hear what I'm saying?" Theron sneered and said, "Tell me quickly, who are you? Why are you in this wilderness?" Moro at the side laughed and said, "Lord Demon General, this old man might be a mute. Why bother with him? Just let this lowly one slaughter him with a single slash. He seems to have some ability." At this time, Chu-Chu said, "This is the Broken Cauldron world. What are you doing here?" "Doing what?" Theron's mouth was full of a sinister smile. He spurred the battle tiger towards Chu-Chu and said, "What else can I do? Raze this place to the ground. These 6 realms will soon be the territory of the devil world. Aren't you taking off your pants to fart by asking such a question?" Chu-Chu couldn't help but frown and sigh. It seems that before the war is over, another wave has arisen. "Are you an idiot, old man? What nonsense are you talking about?" Theron shouted in a low voice, "Get over here immediately and tell me where the demon gods of this world are. Also, who are the enemies of the demon gods?" Chu-Chu laughed and said, "A bunch of hypocrites. Motherfastris I'll let you act all high and mighty again." With a roar, Theron spurred his battle tiger forward like a bolt of lightning, sweeping his flaming warhammer towards Chu-Chu's body. He had used at least 50% of his strength in this attack. He was already planning to kill Chu-Chu in one blow. However, what Theron didn't expect was that this attack actually missed. With a swoosh, Chu-Chu's body instantly turned into flying snow and merged with the surrounding snow as if he had never appeared. Theron's eyes were cold. What kind of crafty technique is this? Where is he? One of the Mara said, "Lord Demon General, I heard that the people of the 6 realms cultivate a variety of martial arts. They are much more cunning than the simple demonic flame that we cultivate. This old man might just be in existence similar to a warlock. Let's not bother about him and find Wuji demon god Wuchang first." "Do you know where Wuchang is?" "Yes, Wuchang is from the Yangshang Empire. He must be in Tianji City. According to the Demon Realm Compass, Tianji City is about 2,000 miles to the east of us. We can reach there overnight." "Okay, lead the way. Let's go and see Wuchang." "Yes." After Theron and the others left, a figure slowly condensed in the whistling wind and snow. It was Chu-Chu. He sighed and muttered to himself, "When will the demonic path stop running amok? I must inform you about these things as soon as possible so that he can be prepared." As he spoke, Chu-Chu opened his palm gently and said, "Lin Muyu's servant Lulu appear." In the jungle, a buzzing sound appeared. An inconspicuous scout bee landed in Chu-Chu's hand. With a swoosh, he contacted Lin Muyu with a laser imaging. Lin Muyu was holding a military meeting at night. She couldn't help but be stunned. "Chu-Chu, is that you?" "It's me." Chu-Chu said solemnly, "Greetings, Your Highness Een and Princess Shi." "Chu-Chu, you don't have to be so courteous." Qin Een smiled and nodded beside Lin Muyu. "Chu-Chu, since you took the initiative to contact us, there must be something, right?" Lin Muyu asked. "Yes." Chu-Chu said, "The people from the demon realm have already entered the mortal world. You have to be careful. They have about 1,000 demon gods. The leader is called Theron. He rides a demon tiger and his strength is unfathomable. Those pawns are also very strong. They can use divine power. They will definitely find trouble with you. Be careful. I am already considered half a cripple. I can't help you much. Chu-Chu has already helped a lot. Then take care. I will take my leave. Goodbye, Chu-Chu." After the scout bee flew away, Lin Muyu's mood became more and more solemn. At the side, Weichou, Situ Sin, Si Kongyao, Situ Shui, Lu Bai and the rest also looked at each other. It's fine if the demon gods like Wu Chang and Longxi appeared, but now a group of demon gods from the demon realm have also appeared. They are really troublesome. Weichou frowned. Lin Muyu frowned and said to the communication device, "Lulu, inform Feng Jixing of this news." "Got it, brother." Lulu was always there. "What do we do now?" Si Kongyao asked. "We can't lose our composure. Do what you have to do. But be careful of their sudden assassination." "Yes." At dawn, the sky above Tianji Palace was fluttering with light snow. A group of Mara walked straight in from outside the palace. No one dared to stop them. And in the middle of the crowd was Demon General Theron, who was riding on a war tiger. Dang dang dang, the bell in the palace rang. Yangsheng, Wu Chang, Longxi and the rest as well as the civil and military officials came out to welcome them. Yangsheng was wearing a dragon robe. He stood on the stairs with a dignified look and said respectfully, "The Lord of the Kingdom of Shang, Yangsheng, pays respect to Lord Demon God." "You're Yangsheng?" Theron urged the war tiger and walked up the stairs without fear. Then his eyes fell on Wu Chang and said, "You are Wuji Demon God?" "Yes." Wu Chang was a calm and steady person. He cupped his fist and said, "Greetings to Lord Demon God." "You don't have to be so polite." Theron said lightly, "I am Theron, the commander of the Demon Realm's Vanguard Army. And you are the Wuji Demon God recognized by the Book of Sealing Demon. You control the law of darkness and have a higher position than me. But, you are not the real Demon God after all. You still need some tests." Wu Chang smiled slightly. "I know. This was an extremely common logic. Even if Wu Chang was stronger than Theron, so what? Theron represented the demon realm while Wu Chang was just a demon god in the mortal world. Their positions were still different. Yangsheng was a little embarrassed by Shen Bing and said, "May I know why Lord Theron has come to the mortal world this time?" Theron turned around and looked at Yangsheng. "Yangsheng, are your country and your army willing to pledge allegiance to the demon realm?" "This. What does Lord mean?" Theron laughed. "It's very simple. If you are willing to pledge allegiance, then you are all the people of the demon realm. I will naturally treat you well. If you are not willing, then you are the enemy of the demon realm. I will lead the Mara army to slaughter you all." Yangsheng only thought for 3 seconds and said respectfully, "I am willing to lead all the people of the kingdom of Shang to pledge allegiance to the demon realm." "Good." Theron smiled with satisfaction. "Now tell me, who is the enemy of the demon realm?" "Qin Tianjua Lin Muyu Qinyu." Yangsheng said word by word. "Who is stronger?" "Qin Lin Muyu." "Good." Theron raised his war hammer and said, "All Mara listen up. Be ready to attack at any time to kill Lin Muyu. Long live the demon realm." The group of Mara screamed madly. Wu Chang, Yangsheng, Longxi and Filei were all stunned. The people of the demon realm seemed to be a bunch of lunatics. In the demon realm, within the purple flame rift, a winged Mara was flying up and down, patrolling around. Inside the rift was the demonic flame lava that surged like a river. That was something that the people of the demon realm loved the most. Almost all the gods of the demon realm would absorb demonic power from the demonic flame lava to cultivate their own cultivation. Next to the lava, ugly demon soldiers crazily devoured the lava. They screamed miserably from the heat, but they still devoured it greedily. These demon soldiers had the lowest status in the demon world. Emolua was like a god to them because demon soldiers were not real gods. They were just pawns. Emolua was the first stage of a demon god. As the group of demon soldiers devoured the lava, a figure flashed above them like lightning. They didn't even notice it. Qian finally came. Chapter 1179. A row of Mara troops slowly patrolled the cave. They were responsible for the safety of the residence of the devil general Ziyan, and this devil's cave was also the residence of Ziyan. In the devil world, the devil's flames were rampant, and the environment outside was so harsh that even the powerful devil general could only find such a cave to rest. There were more than 30 Mara in total, and each of them had cold eyes and stooped bodies, breathing heavily. But just as this group of Mara was patrolling the cave as usual, suddenly an invisible aura rippled out. It was the domain of God and they were completely unable to move. They couldn't even shout. The next moment, a beautiful figure descended from the sky. It was Qian. She didn't say much and the light divine power in her palms slowly pressed down. The bodies of the Mara could not withstand the heavy pressure of the domain, and one by one they exploded and blood flowed everywhere. Qian didn't stop at all. She leaped and flew into the depths of the cave. Over there, a powerful aura had already been detected because of her killing, and the aura was constantly rising. Swoosh! The agile figure shot into the depths of the cave like an arrow into a dense forest. The next second, Qian was already standing straight on the giant rock on the left side of the hall at the end of the cave, and a pair of beautiful eyes looked disdainfully at the person on the throne. That person had long purple-red hair, a ferocious steel mask on his face, and a long sword glowing with red flames was placed beside him. He looked at Qian silently as if he had already known that she would come. On the side, dozens of Mara were all shocked and they raised their weapons and rushed over. Stop! The devil general Ziyan spoke and his voice was like a ghost's roar from purgatory. She is mine, no one can snatch her from me. All of you back off, there is no place for you to intervene here. The crowd of Mara roared wildly, but they kept holding their weapons and retreated according to the order, watching from afar. You are Ziyan? Qian asked. That's right, I am Ziyan. Ziyan looked up at Qian and said, your breath is very strong. You should be a survivor from the 6 realms. If I were you, I would find a hole to hide in and live for a while longer. Instead of coming to the demon realm to seek death like a moth flying into the fire, Qian held the Chiwa sword in her hand and smiled indifferently. Stop dreaming. You are no match for me with your abilities. Can't you feel it? Of course I can, but so what? Ziyan sneered, do you dare to kill me? As long as you kill me, the news will immediately spread to every corner of the devil world, and there will be even more experts of the devil world coming to kill you. I'm just a mere devil general. Above me there are still the Holy King, the Holy Emperor, and the Supreme of the devil world. They are not people you can fight against. Cut the crap. I don't want to kill you. I just want to ask you something. Say it. Ziyan secretly heaved a sigh of relief. Qian said, where is Eva? Eva? Who is that? Ziyan was startled. The blazing angel who guards the 6 realms seal, my sister. She has been swallowed by the devil flame. Tell me, is Eva in the devil world? Has she been taken away by you? Qian was a little emotional. I don't know. Ziyan said, the devil world's army that participated in breaking the 6 realms seal did not include me, and with my strength, I am not qualified to participate in the war against the 6 realms. I think you are asking the wrong person. How dare you? Qian shouted and the 6 wings behind her spread out. Her aura was so cold that Ziyan and all the other Mara squatted down in fear. How could they withstand the sharpness of the blazing angel? Qian's bright eyes were filled with killing intent. The devil world swallowed Eva. Do you dare to say that you, a devil general, have no idea? Ziyan knelt on the ground, trembling, but his palm gently moved to the long sword beside him. Do you want to resist? Qian's eyes were burning. The power of her domain quickly revolved and shot towards the ground like a white flame. In an instant, it actually melted Ziyan's weapon into a pool of molten iron. Qian's strength was so deep that it was terrifying. Ziyan's heart beat violently. This woman was not human at all. Ziyan wanted to explain but didn't know where to start. The Chiwa sword in Qian's hand slowly hummed. She sneered and said, I'll give you one last chance. Tell me, where is Eva? If you don't, I will make you evaporate along with this hole of yours. Ziyin trembled and finally compromised. He said to the group of Mara, all of you get out. No one is allowed to come in without my order. Immediately. Yes, Lord Devil General. Mara and the others quickly left. Ziyin looked up at Shiyen and said, I can tell you, but you must promise not to kill me. Only you won't kill me. Yes, I mean what I say, said Shiyen. Ziyin took a deep breath and said, Eva was indeed devoured by the demonic flames. However, her cultivation was very high and her divinity protected her body automatically, so she wasn't completely devoured and disintegrated. Therefore, although her body was burned, her spirit and fate seeped into her broken sword. The demon world sent a large number of troops to the 6 realms and retrieved the broken sword in which Eva's fate resided. This broken sword is now in the Fecta Temple. Fecta Temple? What's that place? The Fecta Temple. That's the heart of the demon world. It's the palace of the 10,000 Demon Emperor, one of the 4 holy emperors. Not only is the Demon Emperor guarded by the 10,000 holy kings, but also the 10,000 demon emperors. Why did they bring Eva's fate to the Fecta Temple? Asked Shiyen with a frown. Ziyin shook his head. Given my status, I don't have the right to know, but I heard that Eva's fate is the fate of a perfect god and is extremely precious. Therefore, the Demon Emperor plans to use Eva's fate as a source of power to speed up the awakening of the God-destroying pagoda. God-destroying pagoda? Shiyen already had a bad feeling. What is the God-destroying pagoda? Tell me. Ziyin laughed bitterly. The more I say, the more I can't turn back. Of course you can't turn back. Tell me. The God-destroying pagoda is the #1 divine weapon in the demon realm. It is said to be able to destroy gods and Buddhas. It is extremely powerful and can reflect the power of the entire demon realm. In other words, a single attack from the God-destroying pagoda uses the power of the entire demon realm. No god can go against the God-destroying pagoda. However, the God-destroying pagoda was destroyed in a fierce battle many years ago. The holy emperors of the later generations spent many years to repair the God-destroying pagoda, but it requires an extremely vast amount of divine power to awaken the pagoda spirit. It is said that the 7 luminaries demon emperors will provide at least 60% of the power for the awakening of the God-destroying pagoda. The remaining 40% will depend on Eva's fate. If that is not enough, the 4 holy emperors will think of other ways. At this point, Ziyin could not help but take another look at Shiyen. I know you. You are the blazing angel Shiyen, one of the strongest people in the Western divine realm. You are very lucky to still have divine power. However, let me give you a piece of advice. Hurry up and leave. Don't try to go against the 4 holy emperors. You are no match for them. If you go to the Fecta Temple, you will just be walking into a trap and sacrificing yourself as a source of power for the God-destroying pagoda. Shiyen frowned slightly. Is the God-destroying pagoda really that powerful? It is more than powerful. Ziyin smiled faintly and said, I heard from the ancestors of the devil realm that no matter if it is the Zenith Heaven Golden Immortal or the ancient Buddhas, almost no one can withstand a blow from the God-destroying tower. Even if it is the sky beyond heaven such as Pangu the Great Emperor, I am afraid that they cannot withstand a blow from the God-destroying tower. Do you know how Theodore, the former king of the Northern Divine Realm, died? That's right, a simple attack from the God-destroying pagoda destroyed Theodore's body and soul. Think about how powerful Theodore was back then. Who in the 4 divine realms could go against him? Shiyen could not help but be stunned. She had heard of Theodore's name before. However, the ancient books only recorded that this powerful god had suddenly disappeared. Many people assumed that he had ascended to the supreme divine realm beyond the heavens. Chapter 1180. Xishan Province, Shiping Prefecture. Heavy snow was falling endlessly. In the meeting hall, everyone was a little nervous. Feng Jixing sat on the commander's seat, holding an edict in his hand and said, Her Highness Yin's edict orders that all the generals above the rank of captaincy of the Great Qin Empire in Xishan Province must immediately disappear. How do we disappear? Xiang Yu was stunned. Think of a way yourself. Disguise and live in seclusion are all ways. Ding Shi frowned and said, We have hundreds of thousands of men and horses in our hands. Why should we be afraid of a few insignificant Mara? Feng Jixing took a deep breath and said, Because Lin General said that Mara does not belong to the mortal world. They are demons. The opponent that is truly worthy of them is a god. However, we do not have a god, so we use mortal soldiers to fight against demons. This is unfair to the soldiers. Perhaps 300,000 soldiers can kill these Mara, but to injure 1,000 enemy, we will lose 800 men. Therefore, Lin General ordered that we are not allowed to use mortal soldiers to fight against Mara. Chen Feng squinted his eyes and said, Lin General and Her Highness Yin are indeed wise. That Theron led 1,000 Mara into Tianji Palace, presumably they will work for Yangshang. Therefore their next step will definitely be to kill the leader of the Qin Empire because assassination is the fastest and most convenient way to end a war. In this way everyone here will be in danger. We must learn to hide ourselves to preserve our strength. Yes. Feng Jixing nodded and said, I have already made arrangements. The ventilation in the cellar of the Imperial Garden is not bad. It can also provide food for half a year. From today onwards, those who are willing to live in the cellar with me can go together. As for the defense of Xishan province, leave it to the generals outside. Our meeting hall will temporarily stop working. Do you all understand? Yes. Ding Shi and Chen Feng nodded in unison. But Qin Yin frowned and said, General Feng, we're the main force. If we lay low and don't come out, the outside world will spread. The spearheads of those fiend world's gods will definitely point at big brother and cousin. What should we do? This morning, Dragon Rider has already sent the Wind Origin Stone, Senior Luo Tianji, and his treasures to Red Rock City. I'm sure you already has a way to deal with it. We don't have to ask anymore. Yes. Feng Jixing looked at everyone again and said, take a breath of fresh air. 2 hours later, all of you will enter the invisible state. Yes, Deputy Commander. Red Rock City Marshal's Mansion. Lin Muyu, Qin Yin, Tang Xiaoxi, Wei Chou, Feng Zhanlin, Wei Chou, Zhulong and the others were all present. A group of people surrounded a small sand table. On the sand table wasn't a map of Red Rock City, but a small walled city. The scale wasn't big, almost the same size as the courtyard of an official's residence. It was just that the walls were slightly higher. What's this? Wei Chou was dumbfounded. Lin Muyu said, Zhang Family Fortress. It's the courtyard of a rich man in Red Rock City, 20 miles north of the city. The walls are 10 meters high and 3 meters thick. It's surrounded by dense forests and the environment is pretty good. The air is fresh and there are mountains and rivers. Rich man Zhang often brings some women to the fortress to stay in vacation. It's said that this fortress can defend against mountain bandits and is famous far and wide. And then? Tang Xiaoxi squinted her beautiful eyes and asked with a smile. So I want to bring you and Xiaoyin for a vacation, hee. Lin Muyu laughed. Wei Chou, Situ Sen and the others coughed. Qin Yin blushed. Seriously? Alright, but I still want to go to Zhang Family Fortress for a vacation. Lin Muyu held the edge of the sand table and said, 2 days ago, rich man Zhang offered this fortress to me under the invitation of the military police camp. I also sent some soldiers to Zhang Family Fortress to repair the walls and buildings. From today onwards we will be living in Zhang Family Fortress. Wei Chou was stunned, but your excellency, the Mara army led by Theron may come at any time. Even masters like Wu Chang, Filei and Longxi may come together to carry out the assassination. You and Her Highness are important figures of the Qin Empire. You can't go out of the defense range of the Longdan army camp, otherwise? Wei Chou, don't say it. Lin Muyu said softly, I won't let the soldiers of the Longdan army camp fight against the devil for me. It's too selfish. I just want the whole world to know that I live in Zhang Family Fortress with Xiaoyin and Xiaoxi. I want to build this fortress into a palace in the shortest time, so that people like Theron and Wu Chang will come to trouble me. Nangong Lai took a deep breath. Leader, what are you going to do? Situ Sen also said, Yes, your excellency. Can a palace fight against more than 1,000 devil gods? How will we know if we don't try? Lin Muyu smiled and pointed at the Zhang Family Fortress on the sand table, saying, I have ordered to use bell-absorbing rocks to pave the stone floor around the fortress, so that the devil gods will lose the ability to break the void around the Zhang Family Fortress. In addition, Senior Luo Tianji must bury wine stone around the fortress. The wind saw is the weapon to stop and kill Mara. Wei Chou said, but the wind saw can't kill all of Mara. Once they break through the wind saw, how will we deal with them? Lin Muyu stretched out her hand and pressed on the side of the fortress, saying, Build 4 turrets around the fortress. They must be sturdy and install a deicide cannon on each of them. In addition, build around 24 arrow turrets along the inner walls. Place 20 godly archers on each arrow turret and equip them with devil heart white drill arrows. As long as they have enough arm strength, killing Mara will not be a problem. These can only deal with the threat from the sky for a short period of time. What will happen once the devil gods land? Wei Chou looked worried. Don't worry. Lin Muyu pointed at the ground inside the fortress and said, "There will be traps installed here. There will be 2 giant mechanical beasts lying in ambush, Zilong. The Zilong has wind stone installed on its body and its power is extraordinary. Even people at the level of Longxi and Filet may not be able to gain the upper hand against the Zilong's attack. To think that back in the 64 domains, I also suffered a loss from the Zilong because of my poor cultivation. Are these mechanical beasts really that powerful?" Situ Sen was interested. Luo Tianji twirled his beard and smiled. "Does General Situ want to try? The surface of the Zilong is tempered with hard iron and cannot be penetrated by swords and sabers. On the inside, the wind stone is controlling its power. The attacks launched will carry the divine power stored in the stone." Situ Sen's mouth twitched. "Then forget it. I concede defeat." Lin Muyu said, "That's it. The 2 Zilong will be the main attacking and defending forces. At this time with Wei Chao's Ho Yi Bao, we can more or less ensure that there is nothing to worry about. Even if they break through the Zilong's line of defense, we still have. What else?" Wei Chou looked curious. "There's still the flying fish deity," Lin Muyu smiled faintly. "These piranhas are very powerful. They will definitely be able to hold back these demon gods. Whether it is Theron or Wu Chang, these people should not have seen the Zilong flying fish deity and so on. Moreover, we need to continue digging the underground tunnels under the fortress and cover them with white drill arrows. In addition, we still have the heavenly book in our hands. Even if the Wuji demon god Wu Chang comes in, we will make him suffer." In the end, the more information Lin Muyu revealed, the more relieved everyone was. It seemed that fighting against the demon gods was not impossible. It all depended on whether they were willing to give it their all. Wei Chou frowned and said, "Although Sir's plan is already very thorough, digging the tunnels and building the turrets all require time. It will definitely not be completed within 2 to 3 days. Sir, don't worry." Lin Muyu said in a low voice, "I have received a secret report. After the kingdom of Shang suffered a series of crushing defeats in West Mountain Province and Red Cliff Province, the border is no longer stable. 3 days ago, the barbarian tribes in the north of Tianji Province attacked the border. These barbarians are so strong that they even annihilated an army of 2,000 people. Therefore, Yangshang has already requested Theron's Mara army to quell the rebellion. I believe that Yangshang must want to personally witness Mara's strength before deciding whether or not to make a move against us." Qin Yin's pair of starry eyes were smiling. She said, "Let's not talk about the distance, it will also take time to quell the rebellion. We have at least 10 days to prepare. In 10 days we can mobilize a large amount of manpower and it will be enough to rebuild the Zhang family fortress. Yes, this subordinate will mobilize the Longdan army camp to build the fortress. This matter doesn't need to be a secret. Remember to collect antiques, paintings and strange stones from the surrounding cities and counties and move them into the summer residence. The bigger the news, the more determined Yangshang will be to make a move." "Yes." Lin Muyu coughed and said, "I think the movement might not be big enough. Why don't we follow the example of the Yihe kingdom and hold the conferring ceremony in the Zhang family fortress? Your Highness will also confer 7 to 8 imperial marshals. This will definitely shock the world. It will also make Yangshang, Qinyu, and the others feel that our Qin Empire is too arrogant." "Arrogant? Do we really have to be so arrogant? We have a strong army and an invincible army. Why shouldn't we be arrogant? Alright, let's go with the plan. When should we set the date?" 3 days later, at least the fortress will have a different appearance. We will confer the marshal there. Late at night, the marshal's mansion was quiet. Under the light of the candlelight, Qin Yin pursed her red lips and was hesitant. The conferring of the marshal was really a headache. So many generals had made contributions in the war, and it wouldn't be good to miss any of them. Moreover, if the ranking of the marshal was biased, it might cause dissatisfaction. At this moment, Qin Yin actually missed Su Muyun, Zhen Yifan and Chu Chu. If they were here, this matter would probably be easier to decide. As for the conferring of the marshal, Lin Muyu avoided it because he was definitely on the list. It was not good to intervene. Therefore, only Tang Xiaoxi, Chu Yao, Si Kongyao and Ouyang Yan accompanied Qin Yin. Since the Yihe kingdom had 7 marshals, why don't we also appoint 7 marshals? Chu Yao said with a faint look in her eyes. Sister Chu Yao, do you have any suggestions for the candidates? Yu Feng, Jixing, Qianfeng, Qinyan, Dingxi, Xiangyu, Tangzhen, Beilitsang, Weichou, Sidusen, Zhangwei, Qin Xiaoli and Qin Yong. These are all qualified candidates. Chu Yao bit her red lips and said, I can only think of so many for now. Tang Xiaoxi said, We also need to include the people guarding Lanyan City. Su Yu and Jin Yifan should also be on the list. Qin Yi nodded. In fact, the most troublesome thing was the ranking. How to rank the 7 marshals was selected was also a skill. Otherwise, if dissatisfaction was caused, the morale of the army would probably be shaken. After staying up for a night, the next day the list of the 7 marshals was finally released. The order was Lin Muyu, 1st Marshal, Heaven Suppressing Marshal, Qin Dukedom Feng Jixing, 2nd Marshal, Country Suppressing Marshal, Xan Dukedom Chen Feng, 3rd Marshal, North Pacifying Marshal, East Dukedom Xiangyu, 4th Marshal, East Pacifying Marshal, Eastern Dukedom Ding Shi, 5th Marshal, South Pacifying Marshal, Southern Dukedom Tang Zhen, 6th Marshal, West Pacifying Marshal, Western Dukedom Jin Yifan, 7th Marshal Eagle Yang Marshal, Divine Marquis. In addition, Qin Yan Wei, Qiu Situ Sen, Su Yu Zhang Wei, Beili Tsang, Qin Xiaoli and 10 others were conferred the title of Great Generals, each with a title of nobility. The imperial edict was immediately sent to Xishan Province and Lanyan City. It was necessary to let the whole world know of the great power of Qin State. Chapter 1181. In the afternoon, after Tang Xiaoxi announced the name list and order of the 7 marshals of the empire, Wei Chou, Situ Sen, and Nangong Lai looked a little strange, especially Wei Chou, who looked a little disappointed. Indeed, with his contributions he was qualified to be one of the 7 marshals. In terms of military merits, it should be his turn. However, things in this world were not as simple as rewards based on contributions. Lin Muyu could see that Wei Chou was unhappy, and she could also see the indignation of Situ Sen and Situ Shui. After the meeting, Lin Muyu invited Wei Chou and the Situ siblings to have a drink together. There was no one else, even Qin Yin, Tang Xiaoxi and Si Kongyao were sent away by Lin Muyu. Although it was spring, it was still snowing heavily. The chefs in the mansion quickly stewed vegetables, while Situ Shui warmed the wine for everyone. In the huge meeting hall there were only 5 people: Lin Muyu, Wei Chou, Situ Sen, Fengshi and Situ Shui. The wine is warmed, Your Excellency. Situ Shui handed the wine to them. Lin Muyu stood up and personally poured wine for Wei Chou and Situ Sen, then said, "Come, let's drink the first cup first." Yes. Everyone drank the wine in one gulp and swallowed the spicy fragrance. Lin Muyu refilled the wine, took a deep look at everyone and said, "I originally had 5 generals under my command. In addition to the 4 of you, there was also Tsangnan Master Su Jiantao, but he died for his country. In terms of qualifications, each of you has the opportunity to be one of the 7 marshals, but Her Highness did not choose you. I think you all know why." Wei Chou said, "Your Excellency, there is no need to say it. I understand. Although I understand, I still have to say it. This way everyone will feel better." Lin Muyu cleared her throat and said, "Me, Feng Jixing and Chen Feng are definitely among the 7 marshals. There is no doubt about this. As for the other 4, Xiang Yu is an old general of the empire and has always had a reputation. After so many years of ruling Lingnan, his reputation is deeply rooted in the hearts of the people. It can be said that with Xiang Yu around, the 4 provinces of Lingnan can be stabilized. Therefore, Xiang Yu must also be one of the 7 marshals, followed by Ding Shi. We all know that Ding Shi is an old general of Iha country, but Ding Shi has always been a person who can distinguish right from wrong. During the chaos of Lanyan City, he spared me and saved Her Highness's life. It can be said that without Ding Shi, there would probably be no Great Qin today. Moreover, Ding Shi also made countless contributions in the battle against the celestial pole continent, so it is understandable that he is one of the 7 marshals." Among the heads, Wei Chou said, "We have always respected Marshal Ding very much. We have no objection to him being one of the 7 marshals." Next is Tang Zhen. Lin Muyu gazed at the reflection in the wine cup and said, "Tang Zhen is a general of 7 Sea City, and is currently the greatest military commander in the Tang family apart from Shaoxi. More importantly, Tang Zhen's wife is Linghu, the woman who controls the entire demonic race. Tang Zhen alone is related to the safety of the entire western border of the empire. Therefore, Tang Zhen's ranking among the 7 marshals is also in consideration of the stability of the western border." The last one is Zheng Yifan. We all know very well in our hearts that Zheng Yifan is an old subject of the former emperor of the same generation as Su Muyun and Tang Lan. Although he once had disloyal intentions, now it seems that Zheng Yifan has turned over a new leaf. Zheng Yifan alone represents all the old subjects of the Qin and Jin era. Only by ranking him among the 7 marshals can the old subjects be reassured. Otherwise, It will be troublesome if these old fellows take advantage of us fighting outside to overturn the rivers and seas in Lanyan City. Wei Chou was a bit lost in thought and said, "My lord, this subordinate understands what you mean. This subordinate also understands these principles. It doesn't matter. Isn't this subordinate still the head of the 10 generals? I still wronged you." Lin Muyu nodded and said, "If Cangnan Master were still alive, he and you would both be qualified to be ranked among the 7 marshals. Your contributions are even above Xiang Yu and Tang Zhen's. I will remember all of this in my heart." Wei Chou smiled and said, "If my lord hadn't selected this subordinate from the Eagle Nest camp, I'm afraid Wei Chou would still be an ignorant guard. How could I possibly command this magnificent army? Wei Chou will never forget my lord's grace of rebirth." Situ Sin also cupped his fists and said, "If not for my lord, this subordinate would still be the king of mercenaries in Lanyan City." Feng Shi smiled. Lin Muyu also smiled and said, "It's really not easy for us to reach where we are today. Although it's inevitable that there will be some bias when it comes to rewards, it's also unavoidable. Just take it as giving me face. There will be plenty of opportunities to make contributions in the future. Besides, no one knows what the world will be like in the future. Once the Mahayana heavenly axiom descends, we may also bid farewell to this world." "That's true. What's the point of being a king? If any of you want to continue to stay in Shattered Cauldron Realm and become king, I will grant your wish. I will be more at ease leaving one of our Longdan army camp's men to guard this dimension." Wei Chou said in a low voice, "My lord, what are you saying?" Wei Chou is willing to follow my lord forever. It doesn't matter where you go or what you do. "All right." Lin Muyu said, "If we go to the Immortal Realm, we will be at ease together in Xiaoyao. If we go to my hometown, I guarantee you that you won't have to worry about food and clothing." "What about me? What about me?" Sidu Shui asked. "I can't do without you." Lin Muyu smiled and said, "As long as you and General Sun are willing, we will still be working together in the future." "All right, Shui will work hard in her cultivation." At this time, there was still one person who had been silent all along. It was Feng Shi. "General Feng Shi, why aren't you saying anything?" Lin Muyu asked. Feng Shi said respectfully, I am just an ordinary person. My cultivation cannot be compared to the other 3 generals. I have followed Lin General for many years, all for the sake of making contributions, bringing glory to my family, and not bringing shame to my ancestors. Therefore, if Lin General decides to leave this dimension in the future, Feng Shi is willing to be a guard and continue to protect my great Qin nation." Lin Muyu looked at him with admiration and said, "I remember what you said back then. Don't worry, after the world is settled, there will definitely be a place for you to stand." "Many thanks, Lin General. Come, let's drink. Let's not talk about these unhappy things." Yes. 3 days later, the Zhang family fortress was crowded with people. Today was the conferring ceremony of the 7 marshals of the empire. The small Zhang family fortress had undergone a complete transformation. Turrets and arrow towers were built around the fortress, and even the walls were reinforced. The sound of workers digging could be heard from underground. It was the sound of excavators closing the hole. According to the progress of the work, it would be completed in about 3 days. The ceremony was held on the empty space outside the fortress. On a hastily built platform, 7 imperial guards held 7 swords in their hands. These swords were mostly sacred weapons. At this time they were renamed Yuanrong swords. Only marshals were worthy of these swords. Although they were not sacred weapons, they were symbols of power. However, there were only a few marshals present today. In fact, only Lin Muyu was present. The rest were appointed on behalf of other marshals. After the high priest finished reading the eulogy, Qin Yin, who was wearing the empress's robe, slowly walked up to the platform and began the conferring ceremony. Lin Muyu stood at the front, followed by Wei Chou. He accepted the conferring ceremony on behalf of Feng Jixing, while Situ Sin, Feng Shi, and the others accepted the conferring ceremony on behalf of Qian Feng and the others. Qin Yin looked at Lin Muyu with watery eyes and said with grace, "I hereby confer Lin Muyu as the first marshal of the empire. She will be conferred the title of Heaven-Suppressing Marshal and be conferred the title of King of Qin. Please accept the Heaven-Suppressing Yuanrong sword." Lin Muyu took a few steps forward, knelt on one knee and raised both hands to receive the sword. Qin Yin accepted the sword and said with a smile, "Rise, King of Qin." "Thank you, Your Highness." Lin Muyu stood at the side with the sword in his hand. From now on he was restored to the title of King of Qin. Originally, the title of King of Qin had been abandoned by the nation, but times had changed. Now that they were at war, they had to rely on the title of king to motivate the army. It was imperative to restore the title of king of Qin. As for the voices of opposition from the nation in Lanyan City, they couldn't care less. Anyway, they didn't have any military power, so no matter how fiercely they protested, it was useless. The conferring ceremony lasted for an entire afternoon. After the conferring of the 7 marshals, it was followed by the conferring of the 10 generals. Each of them was given a small fief. As for Lin Muyu, his fief was Wugu City. That's right, the entire Wugu City was now Lin Muyu's fief. In addition to this fief, there were also countless rewards of brocades and jewels, although Lin Muyu didn't care about these things at all. Half a day later, 2 dragon knights brought the rewards to Shiping Prefecture. Someone secretly brought the rewards to a secret underground chamber in the Imperial Garden. The rewards have arrived. One of the dragon knights carried the treasures into the secret chamber, while the other opened the Imperial Edict and read out the list of conferring titles. Feng Jixing, Qian Feng, Ding Shi, Xiang Yu and Tang Jin knelt respectfully in a row to receive the conferring titles. Take this, State Marshal. The Dragon Knight handed a Yuanrong sword to Feng Jixing and said with a smile, "Congratulations, Your Highness Prince Xen. Your title of King of Qin has been restored. At the same time, His Highness has also given you 2 prefectures in Dubhe Province as your fief." Feng Jixing smiled and said, "Thank you, Your Highness." After that, Qian Feng, Ding Shi, Xiang Yu and Tang Jin also received their rewards. Each of them received a marshal's cloak. The craftsmanship of these cloaks wasn't considered to be too exquisite, and they couldn't make it in time due to the rush. However, they would definitely be sewn again after returning to Lanyan City, so there was no need to worry. Xiang Yu held the Yuanrong sword and said with a smile, "Congratulations, Your Highnesses Prince Xian and Prince Dong. Not only are you ranked among the 7 commanders, but you've also received the title of king." There was a hint of sarcasm in his words. Clearly, Xiang Yu was destined to be unconvinced. To think that even a surrendered general like Qian Feng had been conferred the title of king, while he, who had gone through hundreds of battles, was only a mere duke. However, Feng Jixing smiled faintly. Hasn't General Xiang Yu been restored to his title of duke as well? The meaning behind his words was even simpler. Back then you were inferior to me and now you're still inferior to me. This is an extremely normal thing. In the end, Xiang Yu almost choked on his words and fell silent. He also knew that in terms of military contributions, he couldn't be compared to Feng Jixing and Qian Feng. In the Battle of Huaxi County, Feng Jixing's stratagem had defeated the Kingdom of Shang's 200,000 soldiers. In the Battle of Longyuan, Qian Feng had fought a bloody battle with the Kingdom of Shang's 500,000 soldiers. This was something that Xiang Yu couldn't be compared to. At the end of the day, he was just a deputy general and had never really commanded a battle before. Even if he was the one in command, would he be a match for Qin Yu and Sun Shi? Not necessarily. Xiang Yu was also well aware of this. Over the past 20 years, the Qin Empire had produced so many talents. Putting aside the 4 heroes of Lanyan, Wei Chou, Su Jiantao, and Situ Sun were all geniuses of the present age. Xiang Yu was born at the wrong time. If it was another era, perhaps he would be one of the few famous generals. But in the end, he was born in this era, and his brilliance was naturally overshadowed by other heroes. This kind of feeling wasn't like Jianggan but Zhuge Liang, Guijia, Sima Yi, Sun Yu, Su Shu, Jiasu, Lu Su and so on. Chapter 1182. In the northern region, the wilderness was in chaos. Amidst the fluttering snow, the sound of cavalry's hooves stomping on the snowy plains shook the canyon. Yangshang rode on a fine horse with a group of royal guards behind him. Sun Shi, Filei Longxi and the others stood guard at the side. In the distance, figures descended from the sky, with Demon General Theron riding a war tiger at the forefront. After the war tiger landed, it let out a loud roar, startling Yangshang and the others' mounts to retreat. However, no one dared to say anything. After all, in the kingdom of Shang, Theron's status was no longer inferior to Yangshang's. Yangshang bowed and bent his knee, all for the sake of keeping Theron and his 1,000 Mara. Using this demon god army to destroy the Qin kingdom and Tianju was his true goal. So, a pitch-black head was tossed over by Theron, rolling into the snow. This head had a ferocious expression, and the beard on its chin was tied into a small braid. This was something that only the northern region wilderness would do. "This is?" Yangshang was stunned. Theron said, "This is the head of the barbarian King Qiu Baihua. His barbarian army has already been defeated, and his elite battalion of 5,000 has almost been completely annihilated by us. Your Majesty Emperor Shang, Can you carry out the mission of beheading Lin Muyu and Qin Yi now? Yang Shang nodded. I didn't expect that the war to end in just 3 days. Many thanks to Demon General Theron's help, it went so smoothly. Let's rest for 2 days, then head to Red Rock City to kill Lin Muyu and Qin Yi. Alright. Theron held the War Tiger's reins, smiling proudly. After killing Lin Muyu and Qin Yi, it's time for me to leave. This plain will be left for Emperor Shang to conquer. Yes. At this time Sun Shi, who was behind Yang Shang, narrowed his eyes. Your Majesty, I think we should take it slow, and not directly head to Red Rock City to behead them. After all, Lin Muyu and Qin Yi still have many minions. I think we should first go to Xishan Province and rely on Lord Theron's divine power to destroy Feng Jixing's troops. And help our army seize Xishan Province. Yang Shang said, unfortunately I heard that Feng Jixing, Xiang Yu, and the others have already disappeared a few days ago. No one knows where they are hiding. Even if we go to Xishan Province, I'm afraid we won't be able to find them. Besides, there are 500,000 Qin army stationed outside Shiping City. Once they are alerted, it won't be a small matter. Theron raised his warhammer and spurred the War Tiger forward. The War Tiger's beard swayed slowly as it sniffed at Yang Shang and Sun Shi's mounts. Immediately, the mounts retreated in fright. Theron squinted his eyes and smiled. I'm afraid this military advisor Sun Shi has misunderstood. I, Theron, did not come to Celestial Pole Continent to be your slave. I came here to kill those so-called righteous experts. Feng Jixing and Xiang Yu's strength is not worth mentioning. Do you want to use the Devil Realm strength to kill these small fries? The only ones that are worthy of my attention are Lin Muyu, who has the Supreme Godhead, as well as Qin Yi and Tang Xiaoxi, who have the Overgod Godheads. They are the ones that must be killed. Sun Shi frowned and said submissively, Lord Theron, I also heard that Lin Muyu, Qin Yi and Tang Xiaoxi are not living in Red Rock City. Instead, they are living in a fortress outside the city called Zhang Family Castle. That fortress is not very sturdy, but it is surrounded by green mountains and clear waters. It is a good place for sightseeing. But, it is precisely because of this that I feel that there is a trap. Since Lin Muyu dares to live in the Zhang family castle so brazenly, it means that he has no fear. He must have buried many traps in the Zhang family castle, waiting for the devil gods to come and kill him. In my opinion, it is better to first understand their situation, then advance step by step and establish an invincible position. Theron couldn't help but smile. He looked coldly at Sun Shi and said, Lord Sun Shi, do you know who I, Theron, hate the most? What? I hate those scheming and deceitful people the most. If Lord Sun Shi wants to scheme, then you can slowly do it yourself. Theron carried his warhammer and rode away on his war tiger. He said indifferently, tomorrow morning the Moro army and I will leave for the Red Rock province to look for the Zhang clan fort. We will capture them, Lin Muyu and the other two, in one fell swoop. Your Majesty, please arrange a few people to lead the way. Yes. Yang Shang didn't dare to disobey. Lord Longxi, Lord Fillet, the two of you will lead the way. Yes. Fillet hesitated. Your Majesty, Lord Wu Chang is a peerless master with the title Wuji Demon God. Won't he come with us? Wu Chang smiled and didn't say anything. Yang Shang said, Tianji City is empty. I'm worried that Feng Jixing and Qin Yu will launch a sneak attack. With Wu Chang around, he can at least protect Tianji City. It's decided. Yes. Theron sneered. It seems that even the heavenly book of Sealing Demon can make a mistake. The dignified Wuji Demon God is just a servant who guards the house. Ah! Wu Chang's expression didn't look good, but he suppressed his anger and didn't show it. Wu Chang had obtained the demon body and the title Wuji Demon God. He was already the strongest person on this continent. Even Yang Shang was very respectful to him. But now, Theron came and it seemed like he was going to take over his position. Wu Chang was very scheming and good at forbearance. Otherwise, they would have already started fighting. The next day when dawn broke, everyone set off. Fillet and Longxi each followed a dragon knight. Theron rode on a war tiger that could also ride on clouds. The rest of Mara flew into the clouds. They traveled very fast. They would arrive at Hongyan province in about half a day. They would see the legendary Zhangjiabao in the afternoon. At this time the Zhangjiabao was almost completed. The craftsmen were painting dark blue paint on the outside of the steel walls. This color was also the main color of the Qin Empire's flag. Buzz, 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 a scout bee stopped on Lin Muyu's shoulder. It flapped its wings and beams of light were reflected from its back. It was the scene of Theron and the others flying through the clouds at high speed. Where? Lin Muyu asked. The Scout Bee flapped its wings at an even faster speed. The laser on its back formed a map. It was the border between Hongyan Province and Huiyuan Province. It would be less than 2 hours before Theron and the others arrived at the Zhangjiabao. They came so fast. Lin Muyu stood up quickly and walked out of the room in the castle. She shouted to the people outside, "Wei Chou, they will arrive in less than 2 hours. Order all the craftsmen to evacuate the main castle immediately. Ask Senior Luo Qinji to activate the wind elemental primordial stones. Everyone is ready for battle. In addition, order the soldiers in the east and west camps of the Zhangjiabao to enter the training state." "Yes, Lin General." Wei Chou spurred his horse and left. Behind Lin Muyu, Qin Yin and Tang Xiaoxi walked out of the shadows, each holding the Donghua sword and the Zhu Rong sword of raging fire. "They are finally here." Tang Xiaoxi pursed her red lips and said, "Otherwise the endless waiting will be too unbearable." "Yes, they are finally here. The people of the demon realm are coming." Lin Muyu gritted her teeth and said, "The righteousness of heaven and earth is everlasting. I hope what the demon emperor said is right. We can only do our best and the rest is up to God's will." "Are we really going to let the 10,000 people of the Dragon League evacuate?" "Retreat. It's useless to have more people. If we really fail, they will only be buried with us if we let them stay here. I am not qualified to decide their life and death." "Yes." Qin Yin approached the window and looked into the distance. She said, "The mechanisms in the cellar are all ready. The turrets and arrow towers are also ready for battle. Everything is ready. Then prepare for the decisive battle." Lin Muyu raised her hand and pulled out the Xinyuan sword. With a low shout, she summoned Acatosaurus and flew out of the room on Acatosaurus. She turned around and said, "Xiaoyin, Xiaoxi, you two guard here. I will go and distract them. We must give Theron and the others a target. Otherwise they will start a massacre, which is not a good thing." "Okay, you be careful. Don't worry." In the courtyard of the Zhang family fortress, a cool breeze was blowing. Everything seemed so quiet that it was a little abnormal, indicating that a great battle was about to come. On the arrow tower on the right side of the fortress, Wei Chou held the Hui Bao in his hand. His clear eyes were filled with battle intent. Beside him were the two great experts, Zhulong and Nangong Lai, guarding him. In this battle, Wei Chou would be a variable. After all, the Hui Bao was too useful in battles against divine-level experts. It was not something that ordinary divine weapons could compare to. Lin Muyu urged Acatosaurus to slowly swim above the garden of the fortress. She looked up at the sky. The spiritual pulse technique had already started to fluctuate with streams of energy. Theron and the others were getting closer and closer. 50 miles. 30 miles. 10 miles. 5 miles. They're coming. As expected, streams of light burst out in the sky. It was their ability to shatter the void. However, there were many bell-absorbing rocks buried in the surroundings of the Zhang family fortress. They could also flash far away in the sky. Kiki. Sharp roars filled the sky. One by one, the Mara screamed ferociously. In the next moment, they all swooped down like blood-red meteors. However, the Mara would never have thought that there was a hidden danger in the invisible wind. Just as they rushed in, countless invisible wind saws wreaked havoc in the sky. Puff, 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 puff. Blood splattered everywhere. The Mara were all killed by the wind saws. Moreover, Luo Qinji had used a dense array of wind saws. Before the Mara reached the ground, they were already torn apart by the wind saws. Only less than 300 Mara managed to enter the fortress. Don't panic. Theron was far more powerful than the others. With a sweep of his war hammer, he actually forcefully shook off one of the wind saws. Then he urged his war tiger and leaped into the fortress. For a moment, the sound of cannons rang out from all directions. The 4 main cannon turrets fired almost at the same time. The magic crystal cannons directly exploded in the group of Mara in the sky. Ping ping ping. Many of the injured Mara were directly blasted into pieces. Some of the stronger ones managed to escape by relying on the devil flames. One by one they fell from the sky in flames. Bastard. At this time even Theron was furious. With a swing of his war hammer, he rushed towards one of the cannon turrets. With a loud bang, the cannon turret was cut in half. The soldiers on the turret screamed miserably as they fell along with the magic crystal cannons. Just as Theron destroyed the second cannon turret, a dense barrage of arrows came from the arrow tower not far away. All of them were white drill arrows and they landed on the astral wall. So, a completely different shooting sun arrow shot out like lightning. With a ping sound, it exploded on Theron's chest, causing him to feel a dull pain. Chapter 1183. Who's there? Theron roared, and the sound wave carried the power to destroy heaven and earth, destroying the arrow tower 20 meters away. Suddenly, the screams of the archers were heard, but there were also a few people who jumped onto the city wall. After a few jumps, they landed on another arrow tower, and the unpredictable arrows came again. Theron was completely enraged. He roared at the sky, "Longshi Filet, when are you going to stop watching? Mara, kill them. Destroy these turrets and arrow towers first." "Yes, Lord Demon General." Mara and the others entered the uninhabited land. How could the ordinary soldiers of the Longdan army camp stop them? Rays of blood-red light ran wildly in the castle, and in the blink of an eye, the turrets and arrow towers collapsed one after another. Obviously, the outermost fortifications had lost their effectiveness, and the defense line of the turrets and arrow towers had been broken through. In the air, the two demon gods, Longshi and Filet, suddenly landed, and with a golden-red light, they tore a group of Longdan army camp soldiers into pieces. At the same time, Lin Muyu, who was not far away, had already killed two Mara, and there were archers in the houses on both sides, constantly attacking Mara with white diamond arrows and arrow boxes. Although Mara was powerful, he was not indestructible, especially with the powerful explosive power of the arrow boxes. If they took too much damage, the moment the gang chi on the surface of their body collapsed would be the moment they died. Accompanied by the sound of puff, 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 Mara fell to the ground and died. Theron became even more anxious and roared, "Kill into the castle, kill everyone you see, don't hesitate." Hee. The Mara and the others entered the castle one after another. The next moment, the sounds of fighting and screams came from everywhere in the corridor and the garden. This was a bloody battle and casualties were unavoidable. Lin Muyu had arranged a total of nearly 3,000 elites of the Longdan army camp to ambush here, but it was unknown how many of them would be able to make it out alive. "Everything in the world, listen to my command." Lin Muyu, who was riding on the dragon's back, suddenly let out a low roar. The mountain force in her hand suddenly fell down, immediately pressing the three Mara into the road, causing them to scream. Although it couldn't kill them, it made them suffer unspeakably. "You're Lin Muyu?" Theron urged his battle tiger to fly over slowly, then he laughed out loud and said, "I like your mount, weapon and armor very much. Why don't you take the initiative to offer them to me, and I will grant you a complete corpse." Lin Muyu's eyes were cold. "You are just a small fry in the devil realm. How can you be so shameless?" "What did you say?" Lin Muyu's words just happened to stab Theron. He didn't say that Theron was just a mere demon general. In the demon world, there were countless people with a higher status than Theron. "I want you to die without a burial." Theron roared angrily and swung his warhammer to attack. Lin Muyu continued to take advantage of the situation. The light in her palm flowed, borrowing the power of the wind in the air to block Theron's attack. Pung! The wind blades were all shattered, it couldn't be blocked at all. Theron's warhammer passed through the wind and brazenly smashed onto the Shen Yuan sword. Suddenly, with a dang sound, Lin Muyu flew out along with her dragon. The disparity in strength couldn't be ignored. Go to hell. Theron's killing intent was awe-inspiring. His figure flashed and jumped from the back of the battle tiger. Raging flames appeared on his warhammer. This hammer strike was probably enough to kill Lin Muyu. However, before Theron's warhammer landed, a force that made him feel a chill on his back suddenly surged above his head. When he raised his head to look, he discovered that it was a majestic dragon. Celestial dragon. Roar. Celestial dragon roared, and the raging flames in its mouth spat out. Wah! Theron let out a miserable groan, holding his warhammer horizontally in front of his chest to resist the invasion of the raging flames. However, the fatal thing was that not only did the celestial dragon's attack contain flames, the holes on the dragon's body opened one after another, shooting out formless dimensional wind blades. It was similar to the power of a wind saw. It could easily tear apart a God Realm expert's protective barrier. Theron didn't dare to underestimate it. He hurriedly gathered all the strength in his body and with a roar, smashed his warhammer towards the celestial dragon's abdomen. The celestial dragon's huge body trembled slightly, but its sharp claws also swept across Theron's chest, almost blasting him off the back of the battle tiger. With a miserable groan, Theron continuously retreated. His face was full of shock. How is this possible? How can there be such a powerful thing in the mortal world? He naturally didn't know that the celestial dragon wasn't a true dragon, but it was much more powerful than a true dragon. This was because the celestial dragon's energy source was a wind origin stone. Which wind origin stone wasn't formed from tens of thousands of years of energy? Even the power of a god would find it hard to directly contend against the wind origin stone in the celestial dragon's body. However, at this moment, a raging flame shot down from the sky. It was Longxi. The celestial dragon's head suffered a fierce blow, and its movements also became sluggish. Although it was powerful, the celestial dragon was still a mechanical beast, not a human. It couldn't fight like a real martial artist. Longxi's arm had just been reconstructed, and his face was ashen as he roared, "Lord Theron, I'll attack the top, you attack the bottom." Okay. Theron urged the battle tiger to quickly smash its warhammer towards the celestial dragon's tail, while Longxi flew at high speed, continuously releasing energy from the wind saw behind him. However, he was still unable to catch up to Longxi. On the contrary, Longxi's body was agile, and he quickly flew in a zigzag line, resulting in the wind saw directly smashing towards the celestial dragon's head. With a loud bang, the celestial dragon's head was already crooked. Good kill. Theron laughed out loud, but he was caught off guard by a sword chi coming at him from behind. Was Lin Muyu? Bastard. How could he, who was focused on fighting the celestial dragon, dodge? His body shook and his throat was already sweet. Although Lin Muyu hadn't reached the immortal state yet, her power had already reached the highest level of the holy heaven state. With the addition of the invisible elephant and the power of the 7 luminaries, this sword attack was no weaker than a god's. Theron's demonic armor wall was already partially damaged, and now that he took this sword attack, he was instantly injured. The sword chi passed through the broken wall and left a bloody wound on his back. Damn it. Theron was a fierce general. He suddenly opened his hand and grabbed the Xinyuan sword's edge, swinging his warhammer horizontally. Die. Boom. The demonic flames were biting cold, and if Lin Muyu took this attack head-on, her body might be shattered on the spot. Thus, she could only let go of the long sword and take out the wall of the gourd to defend. Bang. With just one attack, the wall of the gourd shattered, and she and the dragon crashed into the wall of the fortress behind them. The sword is mine. Theron laughed loudly. However, within the broken tiles, Lin Muyu vomited blood, but she still smiled. Is that so? He opened his palm and activated the fire sword mantra. Instantly, the Xinyuan sword went berserk and spun rapidly. With a piu 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 sound, the fingers on Theron's left hand were quickly crushed by the sword chi, and his entire fist disappeared instantly. This was the result of wanting a divine artifact. Ah! He roared in pain, turned around, and smashed the lower half of the celestial dragon's body with his warhammer. Finally, this celestial dragon lost its ability to fight. In the distance, the second celestial dragon was surrounded by a group of Mara led by Philae. Maras were like demons from hell, cruel and vicious. Although the celestial dragon was strong, it was gradually losing the battle. Moo! A beautiful girl appeared next to Lin Muyu. It was Tang Xiaoxi. She quickly helped Lin Muyu up, then patted Acatosaurus's head and said, "Little apple, you're injured. Go back quickly." Awoo! Acatosaurus shook its head and disappeared in the blink of an eye. Lin Muyu looked at the situation in the fortress. The bodies of the soldiers of the Longdan army camp were everywhere. There were only a few dozens of arrow towers left, and 2 celestial dragons had been destroyed one after another. Although the plan was thorough, it could not withstand the opponent's powerful divine power. The first and second blockade had been completely broken. In the fortress, the sound of Mara chasing and killing the soldiers of the Longdan army camp could be heard everywhere. The screams were unbearable. "Where's Xiaoyin?" Lin Muyu tried to pull herself together, but her head felt a little dizzy. "She's right in front. Let's go and have a look." In the tunnel in front of them, the light rose. A bright dragon crystal blasted the body of Amara. Qinin was also injured and her left arm was full of blood. "Xiaoyin," Lin Muyu hurriedly walked over and said, "Let's go. Go into the tunnel. Our line of defense has been broken. Brother, are you injured?" Qinin hurriedly supported him on the other side. In fact, fighting Mara was easy, but fighting the war demon general was not easy. Theron's strength was far above Lin Muyu's. 2 strikes almost made Lin Muyu lose his combat power. At this time he could not even use 30% of his strength. "Lin Muyu, don't even think of escaping. Die." Behind her, Longxi's roar could be heard. Longxi's strength was not inferior to Theron's, and the 2 of them were chasing after her. This was too terrifying. However, Lin Muyu and the other 2 quickly disappeared into the tunnel and entered the secret mechanism. Longxi roared and slashed the ground with his long sword. Bang! The whole ground cracked open, revealing a huge cellar below. When Longxi and Theron looked up, a huge rock fell down, directly bringing the two of them and a group of Mara down into the cellar. Situ Sin held a weapon embryo in his hand and roared, "They fell in. Heavenly Book, release them all." In an instant, rays of light descended from the sky. Flames, frost, wind blades, meteorites and other powers of laws quickly wreaked havoc, mincing the boulders into pieces. Even some of the demonic luos who did not have a high level of cultivation were blasted into pieces. But in the light there were still two people standing. Get lost. Longxi punched through the air, causing Situ Sin to vomit blood and fall into the mess. Demonic flames burst. Longxi and Theron had already transformed into demon god form, with a sneer on their faces. They were injured but not dead, maintaining more than 60% of their strength. Longxi's smile became more ferocious. He laughed and said, "Lin Muyu, you didn't expect this, right? You set up so many traps but in the end you still have to die. The power of a demon god is far beyond your imagination." "Is that so?" Lin Muyu smiled faintly, and the water behind her flowed. The flying fishes had arrived. Swoosh. The flying fishes instantly swallowed Longxi and Theron's bodies, and the sound of sharp teeth biting could be heard. "Haha, eat them ah." In the mess, Situ Sin could not move but he was still laughing. However, Chinin frowned and said, "No, their aura did not weaken at all." The next moment, with a loud bang, the school of flying fishes was blasted into pieces, and the demonic flames surged. No one would have thought that the demonic flames were the nemesis of the flying fishes, and naturally restrained their attacks. "Oh no." Tang Xiaoxi was stunned. "Stop them and protect Her Highness Yin." Lin Muyu forcibly pulled herself together, but the light of the Xianyuan sword in her hand gradually dimmed. Chinin moved faster. The light of the East Flower sword rotated, and beams of dragon crystals were mixed in it. She blasted them at the two. Bang bang bang. The attack was ineffective. The two were much stronger than Chinin. Pa! Longxi grabbed a dragon crystal and threw it out with a roar. Poof! Blood splattered and Chinin slowly knelt on the ground. It was unknown whether she was dead or alive. Before Lin Muyu could move, Theron's warhammer came toward her. Boom! The sound of ribs breaking was very harsh. Even the Chiyu armor couldn't protect him. With a clang, the Xianyuan sword fell to the ground, but Lin Muyu had already disappeared into the darkness, leaving only a pool of blood in the air. The group of soldiers in the Longdan army camp was almost scared out of their wits. Who would dare to court death? Longxi smiled faintly. Lin Muyu and Chinin are already dead. What are you still holding on for? Put down your weapons. We are gods and we don't kill innocent people. As long as you put down your weapons and surrender to us, I won't kill you. Several soldiers in the Longdan army camp even unconsciously put down their swords. But in front of the crowd there was only one person facing them. It was Tang Xiaoxi who was holding the Zhurong fire sword. She walked step by step to the front of the two, and her 9 tails swayed behind her. Her beautiful face was full of sadness. Her red lips opened slightly and she said word by word, "I will never allow you to hurt them. Who do you think you are?" Longxi laughed out loud. "You, Tang Xiaoxi, are just a demon fox. You are just someone abandoned by your family. You are just a stray dog. What right do you have to protect them? Tell me, just because you don't know the immensity of heaven and earth?" Ah! The huge demonic whirlwind made Tang Xiaoxi's beautiful hair messy. She cried and clenched her fists. She was so wrong that her tears flowed freely. She hated herself for being powerless. She hated herself for not being a match for the two demons in front of her. No. As tears flowed down her face, she murmured, "I want to protect them. I love them. Even if I have to risk my life, I want to protect them. Kill her." Theron ordered. "Longxi, end this quickly." "Yes." Longxi held the sharp sword in his hand. His face was ferocious. His strength began to increase rapidly. But at this moment, the demonic clouds in the sky suddenly dispersed. A golden light shone on the ground and enveloped Tang Xiaoxi. Suddenly, a wave of warmth in the harsh winter poured into her body, making her feel very peaceful. Tang Xiaoxi raised her head and looked up at the sky. There, golden runes appeared in the sky. It was the heavenly melody scroll. The first righteous god had finally awakened. In the sky, a woman's voice with a peaceful aura came. It was Goddess Nuwa's sacred decree from beyond the heavens. "Tang Xiaoxi, you are kind and persistent. You are brave to love and hate. You have obtained the approval of the heavenly melody scroll. Now you are bestowed with a second-class superior god's dharma body. You are given the title of Deity of Love. You will wield the heavenly Tao of fire. I will also bestow upon you the flame of destruction. I hope that you will abandon all distractions and protect the Mahayana heavenly Tao for the sake of all living beings in the world. Swoosh. A beam of light shone down like a goddess descending from the sky. It quickly merged with Tang Xiaoxi's body. The moment she obtained the Dharma body, Tang Xiaoxi's overgod personality quickly awakened. A surge of divine power that she had never felt before rushed into her body. It was the flame of destruction that Goddess Nuwa had announced. The goddess of love, Tang Xiaoxi, the first righteous god in the world. Longxi and Theron were stunned. Kill. The two of them attacked almost at the same time. However, Tang Xiaoxi was faster. In a flash, Zhu Rong's sacred fire sword pierced through Longxi's heart. Tang Xiaoxi's body spun rapidly, and her sword swept across, and Theron's head flew into the air. No one would have thought that Tang Xiaoxi could instantly kill two fiend celestials in just one round. Chapter 1184. Kill Everyone Charge. Filet's hoarse voice could be heard from outside the cellar. He didn't even know about Longxi and Theron's deaths. Mara roared as they charged into the cellar. Although they suffered heavy losses, there were still nearly 100 Mara alive. Together with Filet, they were still a force that couldn't be ignored. Arrows were constantly shooting in all directions. The archers in the Longdan army camp that were hidden in the cellar never stopped shooting. Tang Xiaoxi turned around with the blood-stained Zhu Rong blazing sword and helped Qin Yin, who was lying on the ground. There was a bloodstain on Qin Yin's chest. It was a wound caused by the celestial dragon crystal. Blood kept flowing and she was barely breathing. Tang Xiaoxi was about to cry. Someone save Xiao Yin. As she said this, she hugged Qin Yin tightly and channeled the divine power in her body into Qin Yin's body to save her signs of life. For a moment, the radiance expanded, and the image of a beautiful and bright goddess appeared behind Tang Xiaoxi. It was her love goddess Dharmakaya. The surrounding people were stunned. Situ Shui walked forward with her sword and said, "Princess Shi, Great Deacon Chu Yao will be here soon. You should use some of your energy to fight against Filet and those Mara. They are too strong for us. You are a god, we only have you." "I know." Tang Xiaoxi looked into the darkness with her sword and murmured, "Mu?" Lin Muyu's bones were broken and she was bleeding non-stop. She leaned against the mess and panted desperately. "Don't worry about me. Kill them all. Don't let any of them escape." "Okay." Tang Xiaoxi nodded her head forcefully and with a leap, she appeared in the air above the cellar. Her entire body was emitting the divine power of the heavenly Tao of the Mahayana realm. She opened her left hand lightly and instantly, a net of fire shot out in the air, blotting out the sky and covering the earth. Tens of Mara screamed as they died tragically, their bodies charred black. Filet was a middle demon god and his strength was far inferior to that of a superior god. Moreover, Tang Xiaoxi was a Mahayana heavenly way god. Her righteous aura and the temperature of the fire made Filet feel disgusted and even fearful. Even his hand holding the sword was trembling. He was afraid. He knew that he was no match for Tang Xiaoxi, but he had no other choice but to fight. Zhu Rong's sacred fire sword swept past. Tang Xiaoxi's figure seemed to have dissipated in an instant. But in the next moment she rapidly gathered her sword and pierced through Filet's body. Filet's body was split into two. His body was incessantly burning and turned into a purplish-red mist. Miserable screams could be heard. The demon god's death was not a pretty sight. Tang Xiaoxi didn't stop in the slightest. Her entire body was like a fiery red butterfly that fluttered in purgatory, and she either slashed with her sword or crushed with her imposing aura as she killed all the evil gods in the cellar. Coupled with the assistance of Wei Chou, Zhulong, Feng Zhanlin, and the others, there wasn't a single living fiend god in the Zhang clan fortress in the blink of an eye. It was even to the extent that none of the 1,000 evil gods that Theron had brought over had survived as they'd been completely annihilated. My lord, save her highness." Wei Chou carried a torch and searched the corners of the cellar. Meanwhile, Chu Yao had already begun to staunch Qin Yin's bleeding and awaken her dormant consciousness. In the depths of the cellar, Lin Muyu's entire body was embedded in a pile of broken rocks. The Chiyu armor was slightly deformed, and it was precisely because of this that he managed to escape death. Otherwise he would have been cut into two. "Don't touch him." Tang Xiaoxi looked at Lin Muyu with her pale golden eyes and said with distress, "Almost all of Mu's ribs are broken. Moving him like this will probably cause a second injury. It'll be terrible if the ribs pierce through his organs." Wei Chou panicked. Then what should we do?" Smash the rocks and let him lie on the stretcher. Yes. Tang Xiaoxi gently placed her palm on the rocks, and the huge rocks immediately cracked open. Lin Muyu's body naturally lay flat on the ground. Wei Chou hurriedly ordered 2 soldiers to carry him on a stretcher, and 2 medical officers from the spiritual medicine department looked after him. Are they all killed? Lin Muyu asked miserably. The corner of his mouth was full of blood. Yes. Tang Xiaoxi nodded. That's good. I can also sleep for a while. As soon as he said that, his consciousness blurred, and he fell into a deep sleep. Tang Xiaoxi's eyes reddened. Set up camp outside the Zhang family fortress. Let Mu and Xiaoyin recuperate on the spot. Deploy troops to guard the surroundings. The crisis of the demon god has been resolved, but the crisis of the god has yet to be resolved. Yes. The Zhang family fortress was practically in ruins. The hastily built turrets and arrow towers were mostly destroyed. Zhelong's corpse was also lying in the courtyard. The original fake mountains and flowing water were also destroyed. It was a complete mess. But fortunately, the huge threat from the north was temporarily resolved. The corpses of Longxi and Theron were the proof. Even Theron's battle tiger was imprisoned in a metal cage, guarded by soldiers. This battle tiger was not simple. If not for Tang Xiaoxi, no one would have been able to subdue it. The stars shone brightly in the night. The camp had almost become a camp for wounded soldiers. The strong smell of medicine permeated the air. In the tent, Lin Muyu's wounds were already bandaged. His body was also wrapped in splints. He couldn't move at all, just like a dumpling. Not far away was Qin Yin's bed. She had been unconscious since she was injured. Lin Muyu turned his head with all his might. He wanted to see Qin Yin's condition, but Si Kongyao turned his head and said, "Her Highness's wounds have stopped bleeding. Sister Chu Yao used the best medicine and healing methods. Don't worry, she will wake up soon. Speaking of which, your injuries are more serious. Don't move around." But why is she still not awake? How would I know? I'm not a medical officer. At this moment, Qin Yin suddenly coughed violently. Not far away, Chu Yao, who was sorting out the medicinal ingredients, hurried over and helped Qin Yin up. She said gently, "Your Highness, how do you feel?" "Brother you." Xiaoxi and the others. Qin Yin's face was pale. She seemed to be having a nightmare. "I dreamed of them." As she spoke, tears flowed out of her eyes. "They are fine." Chu Yao said softly, "You is injured, but Xiaoxi is unscathed. Don't worry, Xiaoxi has already obtained the Dharmakaya and become the Mahayana Heavenly Tao's god. If not for her, I'm afraid everyone would have died. Look, you is on the bed over there." Qin Yin hurriedly sat up and walked over shakily. But when she saw Lin Muyu's miserable state, she couldn't help but feel sad. "Brother Yu, I'm sorry." Lin Muyu couldn't move her body. She said, "Quickly lie down. You need to rest more. Don't move around." Ow. At this moment, a gentle breeze carried a beautiful and graceful figure into the tent. It was Tang Xiaoxi. She smiled in surprise. "Xiaoyin, you're awake? That's great." As she spoke, she rushed over and hugged Qin Yin. Qin Yin was also very happy. "Xiaoxi, you're a god now?" Tang Xiaoxi gently hugged her. Her divine power unknowingly overflowed a little to help her recover. She said, "You don't have to worry now, I'll protect everyone. Even if Wu Shang comes, there's no need to be afraid. Xiaoyin, lie down quickly. I just went to cook some soup for you and Mumu to help you recover from your injuries. You'll feel much better after drinking it." Lin Muyu let Si Kongyao prop her head up. She said, "Xiaoxi, have all the invaders been taken care of?" "Yes." "Very good." Lin Muyu was very pleased and said, "That's a huge burden that's been hanging in your heart has finally been lifted. How do you feel now? Compared to the great perfection Celestial Emperor, is the Mahayana Heavenly Path righteous God or the Celestial Emperor stronger?" "Incomparable." "How so?" Tang Xiaoxi leisurely said, "The Celestial Emperor realm is pure strength. Regardless of the state of mind, it can be achieved through cultivation. But the Mahayana Heavenly Tao is different. I was willing to use my life to protect you and Xiaoyin in a moment of desperation. That's why I was recognized by the Heavenly Melody Scroll. When I obtained the Dharmakaya, I saw many things. The vicissitudes of life, the joys and sorrows of partings, life and death. Perhaps the Mahayana Heavenly Tao's God is the true God. Those with distracting thoughts cannot pry into the Mahayana Heavenly Tao. In terms of strength, the Mahayana Heavenly Tao is far superior to the perfect Celestial Emperor. At least that's what I think now." As she spoke, Tang Xiaoxi smiled. "Mu Xiaoyin, I'm feeling very happy now. It's like, I've been reborn. From today onwards, I will keep my temper in check and become a fair and impartial god. However, Lin Muyu was a little worried. Since the Heavenly Melody Scroll has recognized you, then, does the Mahayana Heavenly Tao have some decree for you to carry out? No. Tang Xiaoxi smiled with her bright eyes. Are you worried that the Mahayana Heavenly Tao will give me other tasks and I might leave you in Shaoyin? Lin Muyu nodded lightly. Don't worry. Tang Xiaoxi smiled with her dimples. The moment I was conferred a god, I only thought of you and Shaoyin. I think the Mahayana Heavenly Tao knows my feelings and won't separate us. That's good. Let's not talk about it. I'm making soup for you. I can't let the soup boil. I'll be back soon. As she spoke, Tang Xiaoxi disappeared from the tent. This time it was Wei Chou who walked in. Lin Muyu knew it was time to talk business. She asked, what was the final result of the Zhang family fortress battle? Did we suffer heavy losses? Wei Chou cupped his fists. More than 1,000 Mara and a few demon gods were killed. Their corpses are piled up in the camp. As for our losses, a total of more than 2,300 Longdan army camp elites died in battle. More than 400 were gravely injured. The remaining few hundred suffered light injuries. Dozens of Dragon League experts also died in battle. Nangong Lai, Zhulong Tianxing and the others were injured. In addition, General Sun was gravely injured and is currently receiving treatment. Is General Sun all right? Don't worry, there's no danger to his life. Wei Chou looked up at Lin Muyu. My lady, what should we do next? Keep quiet or? There's no need to hold back. Lin Muyu heaved a sigh of relief. Cut off the heads of Longxi and Theron. Order someone to send them to Tianji City and offer them to Yangshang. Yes. Chapter 1185. The soup Tang Xiaoxi made was the legendary Jiuling deer bone soup. The Jiuling deer was a very rare spirit beast. It was said that the bone soup made with it had a very magical effect on healing injuries and bone regeneration. No one knew where she got this treasure. Soon, 2 large bowls of steaming deer bone soup were placed in front of Lin Muyu and Qin Yin. Drink it quickly. I'll supervise you. Tang Xiaoxi sat on the bed and said like a lady. Qin Yin couldn't help smiling. Thank you, Xiaoxi. Thank you for your trouble. Don't mention it. Drink it quickly or it'll get cold. Okay. Lin Muyu couldn't move his arm, so Tang Xiaoxi fed him personally. However, he didn't cooperate. The soup spilled all over his neck, which made Lin Muyu grimace. We don't have a tacit understanding. It's all your fault. You didn't open your mouth when you should. With that, Tang Xiaoxi quickly helped him wipe it off and then said, How is it? Is my divine power helpful to the recovery of the injury? Seems to be once. That's good. Tang Xiaoxi thought for a moment and said, I'll ask someone to put the 2 beds together later. Tonight the 3 of us will sleep together. I'll accompany you all night and use the divine power of the Mahayana of Heaven's Way to speed up the recovery of your injuries. The Qin Empire can't always be without a backbone. It won't do if both of you fall. Okay. Lin Muyu was a little excited, but when he thought that his upper body was wrapped in splints, he immediately gave up the idea. Deep into the night, the cold wind was blowing outside the tent. One could faintly hear the sound of horse hooves galloping to and fro, as well as the sound of some patrolling soldiers exchanging commands. The tent was guarded by 2 experts from the Dragon League, so there was no need to worry. What made Lin Muyu feel more at ease was that Tang Xiaoxi was lying on the side, and there was a Mahayana Heavenly Tao God guarding her, so no one would dare to come. In the middle of the night, Qin Yin fell into a deep sleep due to her injuries. Tang Xiaoxi's eyes widened. She gently touched the splint on Lin Muyu's chest and asked softly, Does it hurt? It doesn't hurt too much. Lin Muyu lay on her back, looking at the slowly swaying tent, and said, The battle between the gods and demons can be considered to have come to an end. Yangshang should also be quiet for a period of time and can finally rest. Xiaoxi, do you also think that the ambush I set in the Zhang family castle was too rash? If it weren't for you, I'm afraid we would have been wiped out. I won't. Tang Xiaoxi said softly, I know you don't want to exchange the lives of ordinary soldiers for the lives of the demonic gods. You are a competent commander, but you don't know how to take care of yourself. I'm sorry, I don't blame you. In the darkness, Tang Xiaoxi stroked his arm, suddenly raised her head, and a warm kiss fell on Lin Muyu's lips. He couldn't move his whole body, but he felt Tang Xiaoxi's tongue responding softly, and her graceful body slowly became hot. She gently turned over and sat on his waist, leaning her body on him and continued to intoxicated kiss. After a long while the two separated. Tang Xiaoxi said softly in the darkness, "I love you, we will always be together, don't separate, okay?" "Of course I love you too." Lin Muyu opened her eyes to look at her and whispered, "I'm sorry, I can't give you a complete love." Tang Xiaoxi smiled softly, "It's okay, I'm content. Moreover, the one sharing with me is Xiaoyin. Xiaoyin and I are like sisters and we are originally one. Even if it's not you, maybe we will marry someone else." "I don't like what you said. He only you, it's all because of you." Tang Xiaoxi kissed him again. Lin Muyu didn't know what the heavenly law of Mahayana was, and she didn't know how profound the heavenly law of Mahayana was, but she knew that Tang Xiaoxi, who got the Dharmakaya, loved even more fiercely. Perhaps it was just like what Goddess Nuwa said in her announcement, Tang Xiaoxi dared to love and hate, and this was her nature. She fell in love with him and this was a gift from God, a blessing for eternal life. Some were happy and some were sad. 3 days later the Tianji Palace in Tianji City was silent. 2 huge wooden boxes were presented in the main hall. "What's this?" Yang Shang asked. The commander of the Imperial Guard said respectfully, "Your Majesty, someone in front of the Imperial City said he wanted to present this to Your Majesty. We originally wanted to capture him, but we didn't expect this person to come and go without a trace. In the blink of an eye he went far away so we could only bring these things here." "Aren't you afraid of something that kills people?" Sun Shi said lightly. "I have seen it, it's not something that kills people. Your Majesty will know when you see it." The commander of the Imperial Guards took a few steps back, and he seemed to be afraid of the things in the box. Sun Shi said coldly, "Lord Theron, Longxi and Filei went to Hongyan province, and there was no news from them. Now these 2 boxes came and I don't know what kind of trick it is. Wuji Demon God, your cultivation is the highest, why don't you take a look?" Wu Chang's eyes were calm and he walked forward. He waved his hand lightly, and the lids of the 2 wooden boxes flew up. The officials looked at them and in the next moment, their faces turned pale with fright. In the boxes were the heads of Theron and Longxi. Who would have thought that these 2 powerful demon gods could be killed? Wu Chang, Yang Shang's eyes were cold and he said, "It seems that the legend is true. The door to the Mahayana heavenly Tao has been opened, and the news that Tang Xiaoxi obtained a righteous god's dharma body is true. If not, a demon general like Lord Theron would not have died in battle." Wu Chang said, "Your Majesty, Theron also brought 1,000 Mara and they were all demon gods with demonic bodies. Not a single Mara came back to report, which means that Mara's army has been wiped out. This Tang Xiaoxi is just a righteous god, what kind of power does she have to be able to kill more than 1,000 demon gods? This matter, analyzed in essence, doesn't make sense. If we add Lin Muyu, I'm afraid it makes sense." The one who spoke was Sun Shi. Wu Chang narrowed his eyes. "Oh? Why do you think so, military advisor?" "I heard that the Western barbarians of the Shattered Cauldron realm are very scheming, and they can invent deicide cannon, white drill arrow and the like. In addition, Lin Muyu was once a god and brought out some ingenious gadgets from the primordial mystic realm. Also, during the Battle of Sheeping City, they had weapons that could strangle dragon knights in the air. These could all be used as an ambush for Lin Muyu. Theron and Longxi underestimated their enemy, and with Tang Xiaoxi who ascended to the Mahayana heavenly Tao, it is not surprising that they were defeated." Wu Chang was silent and he could not refute. However, Yang Shang said, "Lord Sun Shi, what do you think the kingdom of Shang should do now?" Sun Shi said, "Your Majesty, originally, if we advance step by step, we could use Theron's 1,000 Mara to take down Sheeping City first, and then advance south, not falling into Lin Muyu's trap. We could fully utilize Mara's battle strength, and perhaps we could sweep the Western barbarians from the celestial continent within 3 months. But now, Mara's advantage is no longer there. The current situation is that the enemy is stronger than us, so, lying low and diplomacy is the best way. Your Majesty also knows that Qinyu used Song Liangqing to kill Lin Muyu's general Jian Tao in the Battle of Red Cliff City. Lin Muyu hates Qinyu to the bone. As long as we sit back and watch the Qin and Celestial Empire go to war, we will be invincible. The key is that Lin Muyu is not a fool. Will he formally declare war against Qinyu?" Yang Shang said indifferently, "Don't forget, Lin Muyu has already occupied Red Cliff City for more than 2 months. The Longdan army camp and the Bai Zhe mercenaries stationed in Red Cliff City are only 3 days' journey from Song Liangqing's army, but Lin Muyu has yet to use force. How can such a person who is good at enduring easily declare war against Qinyu? Your Majesty, Lin Muyu may be able to endure, but Qinyu may not be able to." "Why do you say so?" "Very simple." Sun Shi smiled and said, Qinyu has already stockpiled a large amount of provisions and troops in scorching Han City. Now the troops that Qinyu has gathered are no less than those of the Qin traders. He needs a breakthrough point, and the Huiyuan province between our three countries is the best springboard. Only by entering the Huiyuan province can the troops of scorching Han City attack the kingdom of Shang in the north and the Qin kingdom in the east. And there is only one way to get Qinyu's troops to enter the Huiyuan province. What way? The Qin kingdom and the kingdom of Shang will fight it out. Sun Shi said in a low voice, only when the two of us fight will Qinyu use this springboard to enter the Huiyuan province. Your Majesty can send a strong force to pretend to attack Shiping City and pretend to be engaged in a fierce battle with Feng Jixing's troops. This way Qinyu will definitely enter the Huiyuan province. When Qinyu's troops enter the Huiyuan province, the troops of our great Shang will quickly retreat. Then we can sit on the mountain and watch the tigers fight, watching the Qin traders and Tianju fight it out. Wu Chang couldn't help but laugh. Lord Sun Shi, why do you think that Qinyu will definitely fight it out with the Qin kingdom? I don't think that Qinyu will definitely attack the Qin kingdom, but the Qin kingdom will definitely attack Tianju. Why? Yang Shang was a little surprised. Sun Shi said lightly, Your Majesty, the Qin people have strict military laws and are known for their iron-blooded military spirit. After the Battle of Jianlongjiwen, most of their dead were buried under the Green Mountains outside Jianlongjiwen and a national monument was set up. Even Su Jintao's body was buried under the national monument. Once Qinyu's troops enter the Huiyuan province, our army can secretly send a troop to change into the Celestial Empire's military uniform and destroy and dig up the national monument wantonly so that the dead of the Qin army cannot rest in peace. Under such circumstances, do you think that Feng Jixing will be able to resist and not declare war on Qinyu? Yang Shang couldn't help but take a deep breath. This is indeed a vicious plan. Wu Chang was rather disdainful. A despicable person's trick to disturb the dead, isn't that too despicable? A great man can't be ruthless. Haven't Wuji demon god heard of this saying? Sun Shi's eyes carried a cold smile. Lin Muyu led the Qin army into the territory of our great Shang dynasty and repeatedly used tricks to defeat our army. Let me ask you, which of the tricks used by Lin Muyu is not a vicious one? War is like this, where is there any benevolence to speak of? Yang Shang slapped the dragon table and said, Let's follow Lord Sun Shi's plan. Wu Shang was silent for a few seconds and said to himself, His Majesty was originally the Marshal of the Northern Heaven Realm, a righteous and upright person. Who would have thought that he would become a scoundrel who overturns rivers and seas? A chill shot out of Yang Shang's eyes, but he didn't say anything. At this moment, it was not the time to move against Wu Chang. Chapter 1186. 8 Wasteland World. Clouds covered the sky, covering everything on the ground, including most of the light from the sun and the moon, making the land very dark. Amidst the overlapping lightning vines, the 7 luminaries demon emperor closed his eyes. His arms seemed to have grown together with the vines. His long hair was tied behind his back like withered vines, and his feet were tied up by the vines, making him unable to move. Ha! Amara flapped his wings and held a sharp spear in his hand as he stopped in front of the 7 luminaries demon emperor. He used his spear to pry open the vines and looked at the 7 luminaries demon emperor's appearance. He laughed in a sharp voice and said, 7 luminaries demon emperor, did you hear that? A Mahayana heavenly Tao god has appeared in the mortal world. Her name is Tang Xiaoxi. Ha, but what a beautiful name. I heard that you know her, and the demon world is about to use the god-destroying tower filled with your power to kill this god. How do you feel? The eyebrows of the 7 luminaries demon emperor trembled violently, and instantly, the entire lightning vine mountain shook violently. The group of Mara was instantly shocked and said, What's going on? What's going on? Does this guy still want to struggle? His power has long been exhausted, and this lightning vine is a cage woven by the demon world's original spirits. A mere depraved god like him won't be able to do much. Don't worry, maybe it's just the demon world's crust shaking. As expected, the vine mountain gradually quietened down, and the 7 luminaries demon emperor also stopped moving. He stood quietly in the vine, and only the corners of his mouth revealed a strong killing intent. In East Heaven, without the protection of spiritual power, the heavenly court was already covered in cobwebs and dust. At this time, hundreds of Mara were wreaking havoc on the spiritual mountain with all kinds of weapons. There were bloodstains everywhere, and many depraved gods had already been killed. They were only heaven realm and holy domain cultivators. How could they be a match for the fierce Mara? At the peak of the spiritual mountain, a majestic palace stood there, and it was filled with depraved gods. They were all once generals of East Heaven. Ziyao, who was dressed in a snow-white robe, stood at the entrance of the palace with a long sword in her hand. She looked faintly at the devil Luo, who was wreaking havoc in the distance, and said, "Guard the Hall of Great Accomplishment, this is our last hope. We must not let them attack us, otherwise the Eastern Heaven realm will be destroyed." At the side, Sun Feng was bandaging his own wounds. His leg had been pierced by a long spear and was bleeding non-stop. He was once a valiant general of the Eastern Heaven realm, but now he was injured by a mere Mo Luo. "Is there news from the Ba Huang domain?" asked Qingping. Qingping asked, "No." Ziyao shook her head and bit her red lips. "My senses are very weak and I can't see the situation in 8 Wasteland Realm at all, but I believe that Demon Emperor will not die." "He will not?" Sun Feng frowned. "Tang Xiaoxi has already ascended to become the first Mahayana Heavenly Tao God. She should immediately come to the Heaven Realm to protect East Heaven Realm and save the 7 luminaries Demon Emperor." "No, Xiaoxi can't protect herself," Ziyao murmured. "There are so many demon gods in Shattered Cauldron Realm. There is Wuchang as a superior god, Longxi, Fillet, and others as middle demon gods. Xiaoxi can't deal with so many opponents, let alone come to East Heaven Realm." Sigh. Sun Feng was annoyed. "Can we only stay in this corner now?" "In your dreams," Qingping said. "Mo Luo is about to attack the mountain. We might be able to defend against the first round of attacks, but we might not be able to defend against the second round. Hurry up and mobilize all your men. Once the Hall of Great Accomplishment falls, we will truly be doomed." "Yes." Sun Feng tightened his bandages and stood up. Looking into the distance, he took a deep breath and said, "Mo Luo seems to have increased his troops again. There are even a few demon general-level beasts among them. Looks like the demon world is getting serious." They have been serious for a long time. In the demon world there was a dark and damp mountain range that was closely connected to each other. Within a few hundred miles, there was nothing but lush greenery. Nothing could be seen except the undulating mountains, and the winged Mara flying among the clouds on the mountain peak. These winged Mara were cruel and ruthless. They would kill anyone they saw with ancient bows and arrows. They would only show mercy when they met people from the demon world. On the winding mountain path, a group of people walked in a zigzag manner. At the front was the demon general Ziyin, who was holding a purple-red sharp sword in his hand. Following closely behind was a slightly petite person from the demon world. She was wearing a black cloak and wore a flashing demon world emblem on her chest. An exquisite sword hilt was revealed at the part where the cloak split. It was the silhouette of the Chiwe sword. "Lord Xiyin, please try to suppress your aura," Ziyin said in a low voice. "The weaker your divine aura, the more you can deceive the Mara's nose. Also, why didn't you sprinkle some of the incense I gave you?" Xiyin said indifferently, "That incense is extremely smelly, yet you call it incense. Do the people of the demon world have a problem with their nose?" Ziyin let out a bitter laugh. "The demon world is like another purgatory in the human world. There's no fragrance, only a fierce aura and the stench from the depths of the demon's souls. I know that the angels of the Western Divine Realm hate this kind of smell the most, but there's nothing we can do about it. We're about to enter the Fecta Temple. Please sprinkle some incense. Otherwise, given the ancient demon emperor's cultivation, I'm afraid he'll be able to smell your scent long ago." "All right then. I've already thrown away the incense. Do you have any more?" "Yes. Help me sprinkle it." Xiyin stood still. Ziyin raised his arm and the purple particles in a small bottle fell on Xiyin's body like a drizzle. Xiyin immediately sneezed a few times and frowned in displeasure. "Ah, please bear with it, Lord Xiyin. Don't say any more. Let's go, it stinks." "Yes." When the blood moon was halfway up the mountain, Ziyin, Xiyin and the others had already crossed 2 mountains and were about to reach the Heaven Jewel mountain range where the Fecta Temple was located. The Heaven Jewel mountain range was extremely vast and there were dense blood clouds above it. Xiyin looked up and could not help but be slightly surprised. "The blood clouds here are so dense." Ziyin could not help but laugh. "Lord, those aren't clouds. You'll know once you take a closer look." Xiyin narrowed her eyes. When she took a closer look, she realized that the clouds were made up of small individuals. They were all ferocious 2-winged Mara. They carried their weapons and flew in the same direction. They looked like blood clouds spiraling in the air. It was extremely terrifying. "Oh my god, are they all Mara?" Xiyin was stunned. "Yes, they are the 2-winged Mara's army." Ziyin smiled faintly. There's an old saying in the demon world that goes, barefoot servants and winged soldiers. A large number of demon world citizens are just servants, but once they absorb demonic chi and grow wings to become two-winged Mara, they will become soldiers of the demon world and break away from the lowest level of demon world society. These are the two-winged Mara's army that guards the Fekta temple. They also belong to His Majesty the Eternal Demon Emperor. I heard that there are more than 8 million of them. Xian took a deep breath and felt a chill in her heart. Since when did the demon world raise so many minions? Hundreds of thousands of years. Ziyin said, there hasn't been a civil war in the demon world for hundreds of thousands of years. The Mara only feed on demonic chi and their numbers have never been controlled. Just the Eternal Demon Emperor alone has tens of millions of Mara's army. If we include the armies of the other 3 holy emperors, the demon world's army will probably number more than 50 million. What are you trying to do by training so many Mara's army? Xian said faintly. What can we do? Ziyin laughed self-deprecatingly. Just like in the legends, the demon world only wants to destroy the world and become the ruler of all things. You've seen it for yourself. In ancient times, the righteous gods used their cultivation to seal the demon world and even let a giant beast called the Dark Servant devour the entire space of the demon world. They didn't want the demon world to exist at all, so the holy emperor of the demon world is naturally filled with anger and hatred. Now that the time is finally ripe, the demon world will let the whole world feel their malevolence and anger. Xian fell silent. Just then, a beam of light suddenly shone from the Fekta temple in the distance. It was extremely scorching. What is that? Xian suddenly turned around and hid behind a rock. However, the scorching light was still extremely hot and she almost couldn't breathe. It's the light of the God-destroying tower. Ziyin shouted in a low voice, block this light, don't let the God-destroying tower discover Lady Xian. Yes. The group of Maras gathered together. They were not afraid of the fierce light of the God-destroying tower. After all, power came from the source and they even enjoyed being bathed in the light of the God-destroying tower. A huge figure suddenly appeared above the Fekta temple. It was a demon with silver horns on his head and was clad in shining armor. His eyes were disdainful and he was insufferably arrogant. He asked in a thunderous voice, Ziyin, what are you doing in the Fekta temple? Ziyin hurriedly knelt down and said, Your Highness Demon Emperor, have you forgotten? I guard the Ziyin crack and return to the Fekta temple every 6 months to report on my work. I also bring the spawned Maras back to replenish Your Highness' army. Here, I have brought back 300 Maras for Your Highness to inspect. The image of the ancient demon emperor smiled and said, Very well, you may do it. Yes. When Ziyin got up, the demon figure above the Fekta temple instantly disappeared. Xian slowly got up and her heart was pounding. The ancient demon emperor could actually use his divine power to summon such a huge body. His cultivation was most likely higher than hers. The holy emperors of the demon world were indeed not simple. This was more troublesome. Seeing that Xian was hesitating, Ziyin said, Lady Xian, it's not too late to stop now. No. Xian shook her head. I will never compromise. Didn't I say that I will enter the Fekta temple in disguise and find Eva's Yuan spirit? I will not clash with the ancient demon emperor. That's good. Let's go. Okay. Xian looked in the direction of the Fekta temple and said, Then the god-destroying pagoda? Ziyin seemed to have guessed what she was going to say and smiled. That's right, the god-destroying pagoda is the #1 divine weapon in the demon world and is owned by the ancient demon emperor. It will also be the weapon that the demon emperor uses to deal with the gods above Jin. Jin? Xian frowned and said, Forget it, let's go. We have to hurry. Yes. Chapter 1187. The Fekta temple was heavily guarded. There were close to 100,000 Mara demons stationed at the foot of the mountain and there were 5 checkpoints in total. However, with Ziyan's protection, Xian managed to sneak past all of them. These 5 checkpoints are known as the 5 layers of heaven. Ziyan walked forward slowly and said calmly, After the 5 layers of heaven are 1,000 steps that lead straight to the Fekta temple. It is known as the 1,000 chasms in the demon realm. No matter what you see on the 1,000 chasms, do not speak or pay attention to it. Otherwise you might be seen through. Lady Xian, do you understand? Yes, I understand. Ziyan walked up the steps while Xian followed closely behind. The steps were long and wide. The light was dim and even the stone steps on both sides were shrouded in darkness. However, Xian could sense an extremely ferocious aura. Roar, roar. Low roars came from the darkness. Xian only took a glance and saw a pair of eyes that shone like lanterns. They were giant beasts from the demon realm. Ziyin said in a low voice, "Don't look at them. Those are bone-devouring beasts, the pets of His Majesty Demon Emperor Mara. Once the bone-devouring beasts discover your inner betrayal, they will see through you and you will be hunted down by Mara's army." Xian nodded. She seemed to have sensed the intentions of those beasts during that hurried glance. Those pairs of eyes were like traps that lured people to tell the truth. However, who was Xian? She was the strongest seraph in the Western Divine Realm. Her footsteps were steady and she clenched her fists tightly as she followed Ziyin toward the Fecta Temple. Not far ahead, the stone steps suddenly broke, and a purple demonic flame soared into the sky from below. Ziyin said in a low voice, "We have arrived at the cliff. There are about 100 steps in the middle. The impact of the devil flame replaces the stone steps. In fact, stepping down is the same, but you will have to bear the baptism of the devil flame. However, for the people of the devil world, it is like a happy bath. Madam Xian, you have to endure the burning of the devil flame, can you?" "Don't talk. Just keep walking. I can do it." "Yes." As they continued forward, when Xian stepped onto the demonic flames, she immediately felt as if she had stepped into a sea of fire. However, she gritted her teeth and endured it. She could only endure it so that she would not give herself away. Otherwise she would be easily seen through. Who knew how many pairs of eyes were staring at them in the darkness? On the other hand, when Ziyin and the group of Mara walked past the cliff, they looked as if they were the owners of a bathing center. When Xiyin walked past the 100 stone steps, she could not help but take a deep breath. She could not use her divine power to resist the devil flame because the fluctuation of her aura would attract the attention of others. She could only rely on her flesh and blood to resist the devil flame. Her feet were burning, but she could only grit her teeth and endure it. Ziyin continued walking and said in a low voice, "Next is the inspection of the devil guards. Once we pass this test we can enter the Fecta Temple." "Inspection by the devil guards?" "Yes, these devil guards are all at the devil general level. They are the minions of the eternal demon emperor. Madam Xian, please use the mask of nothingness that I gave you. Only the mask of nothingness can deceive the eyes of these devil guards." Okay. Unknowingly, a layer of indistinct cyclone appeared on Xian's face and transformed into another face. It was Mara's face, hideous and terrifying. "Raise your head." A few fiend guards stepped forward and berated loudly. Ziyin raised his head and said, "What's wrong? Don't you recognize me?" "Oh, so it's Demon General Ziyin. Are you here to debrief?" "Yes, I've brought along some new soldiers." "Has so many? It seems like you've plundered quite a lot in the lower domain." Yes. At this moment, a devil guard suddenly stretched out his hand and blocked Xian's path. "You raise your head." Xian raised her head, her heart filled with apprehension. It would be troublesome if she was recognized. However, the other party did not seem to see through the mask of nothingness's disguise. He smiled faintly and said, "This Mara looks malnourished. He needs to absorb more devil flame in order to be of service to the demon world." That's right. He'll definitely have something to eat in the Fecta Temple." Ziyin said, "Then can we go over?" "Go ahead and hand Mara over to the examiner. You can stay in the Fecta Temple for the night and debrief tomorrow morning." "Yes." After entering the main hall, Xian was somewhat astonished. Only after entering did she realize how enormous the Fecta Temple was. It was even more majestic than the main hall in the Western Divine Realm back then. A group of hundreds of people walked into the main hall and they seemed extremely small. Deep in the main hall, there was the sound of gears turning and the passageways in front of them were changing like Rubik's cubes. There was no ground in front of them, only an empty void. Ziyin said loudly, "I'm Demon General Ziyin of the Ziyin Crevice. I've led the troops to deliver this to His Majesty, Demon Emperor. Please let us through." In the air, an elderly voice sounded, "Wait a moment." Not long after, the sound of gears became louder and louder. In the distance, two black undulating passageways could be seen. The elderly voice said, "Troops take the left passageway. Debriefers take the right passageway." Yes. Under Ziyan's signal, Mara walked onto the left passageway and crawled on it, looking extremely afraid. Ziyin shot a glance at Xian and said, "Let's go, we'll take the right passageway." When the two of them stepped onto the passageway, the black boulder gradually rose and sent them to the Fecta Temple's residence. In the distance, a cubicle space appeared around the main hall. That was the residence. Debriefers were not qualified to have an audience with the demon emperor and had to leave after staying for a night. However, Shi Yan's gaze was fixed in the distance. On the right side of the Fekta temple, there was a towering mountain peak with a dazzling pearl on it. Upon closer inspection, one would realize that it was not a pearl but a divine weapon. It was a vast ancient pagoda that was layered and changed endlessly. It was suffused with a faint demonic luster. It was the god-destroying pagoda. In front of the god-destroying pagoda, a person sat there in dazzling armor. It was the ancient demon emperor. He was actually personally guarding the god-destroying pagoda. "Where's Eva?" Shi Yan said softly. "Don't be anxious, let's observe first." Not long after, the two of them were sent to a cubicle outside the Fekta temple. It was a room with a large bed, some food and fruits. The treatment of a demon general was not bad. After entering the room, they could still see the light of the god-destroying pagoda on the Fekta peak in the distance. However, it was separated from the outside world by a layer of crystal glass. Ziyin said softly, "My lord, don't be anxious, let's wait quietly. I heard that the ancient demon emperor enters the earth's core to absorb the purest demonic chi every night. At that time, only the Holy King will be guarding the god-destroying pagoda. According to the days, the one guarding the god-destroying pagoda should be the Qilin Holy King. When that time comes, my lord Shi Yan, you can stall the Qilin Holy King while I steal the broken sword at the side of the god-destroying pagoda and leave the Fekta temple with Lady Eva's primordial spirit. You can look for me after you get rid of the Qilin Holy King." "Can you do it alone?" Shi Yan was rather doubtful. "I can, please believe in me." "Okay." Time trickled by. After midnight, the ancient demon emperor's figure suddenly disappeared and was replaced by a demon expert in red Qilin armor. It was the legendary Qilin Holy King. His strength was not bad, although he was far from the ancient demon emperors. "It's time for us to take action." Shi Yan's palm glowed with a faint radiance. She wiped it lightly on the transparent wall and a hole was immediately burned on the crystal. Cold wind blew in. She glanced at Ziyin and said, "If you can save Eva, I will definitely repay you generously." Ziyin cupped his fists and said, "My lord, what are you saying? I just don't want to continue doing evil." "Okay, let's go." A stream of light shot out from the densely packed square room and turned into a dazzling radiance. The moment the Chiwa sword was unsheathed, half of the Fekta temple flickered. "Who's there?" The Qilin Holy King roared angrily. A long blade appeared in his hand and he slashed at Shi Yan. However, Shi Yan's speed was faster. She spread her 6 wings and swept her sword horizontally, creating waves of sword chi. It was the first strike of Shi Yan's 7 strikes, split. Peng? Saint King Qilin was obviously no match for him. He was forced to retreat. His ferocious nature burst forth as he roared, "I'm going to kill you." The Chiwa sword danced and light shone again. The 5th strike, release. Boom. Under the baptism of the law of light, the Qilin Holy King wailed endlessly and his body seemed to be peeled off inch by inch. Behind him, on the Fekta peak, Ziyin floated down and held the god-destroying pagoda in his hands. His eyes suddenly turned sinister and the vigorous power surged into his body. He laughed loudly and said, "God-destroying pagoda, you are mine now. Ah, you are mine now. From today onwards, the demon realm will be ruled by me, Ziyin." Shi Yan was shocked. "Ziyin, you? Ah, my lord Shi Yan, you are so silly. How can a demon be a good person, ha? Bastard." Shi Yan rose and slashed with her sword. However, Ziyin had already raised the god-destroying pagoda and demon flames surged from the bottom of the pagoda. He laughed loudly and said, "Come, come, be the first sacrifice of the god-destroying pagoda." Buzz. The entire heaven and earth began to distort and the demon realm suddenly darkened. A beam of light shot out from the bottom of the god-destroying pagoda and blasted straight at Shi Yan. With a loud sound, Shi Yan's body turned into a shooting star and disappeared from the Fekta peak. She fell into the dark mountains in the distance and left a trail of light in the sky. Ziyin laughed crazily and when he looked down he was suddenly stunned. "En? Where is Eva's primordial spirit? Damn it, this woman is so fast." 6 realms, East Heaven. The Hall of Great Accomplishment was filled with the sounds of killing. Countless winged Mara descended from the sky and shot arrows into the bodies of the crippled gods outside the hall. The sounds of killing and screams were continuous. The heaven realm had already become a purgatory. At this moment, in Ba Huang domain, the winged Mara were still playing around with the 7 luminaries demon emperor. "Did you hear that, 7 luminaries demon emperor?" A loud sound came from the demon realm. "It's the light of the god-destroying pagoda." Ha ha ha, His Majesty the Eternal Demon Emperor has already started to use the god-destroying pagoda to kill gods. Who are those dead gods? Is it your Ziyao or the mortal realm's Tang Xiaoxi? I seem to have heard screams and begging for mercy. It's so tragic. The seven luminaries' demon emperor's eyes were tightly shut. He could see the tragic scene not far away. The Hall of Great Accomplishment was surrounded and countless of his subordinates were fighting a bloody battle. The corners of the seven brilliance demon monarch's eyes suddenly emitted wisps of golden flames. His lips curled upward as he said with a smile, "You've gone through a lot of trouble to seal my 12 meridians with vines, demanding my god force for your use, but do you idiots know that I've already cultivated the 13th meridian 8 years ago? Do you guys really think you can trap me?" What? The winged Mara turned pale with fright. At the same time, the seven luminaries' demon emperor roared angrily. The wisteria that filled the sky collapsed and burned. He had broken free. In the instant that he broke free, the golden light on his arm shone brightly, shattering the bodies of hundreds of demonic luos. He raised his head to look at the sky and bellowed furiously, "Heavenly Melody Scroll, get the hell out here. What kind of Mahayana Heavenly Tao are you? Put away your high and mighty attitude. You are just a broken book. How can a broken book like you control the life and death of the living beings in the six realms? With or without you, I am still a god." Buzz buzz, in the sky the golden scroll actually appeared. Lines of words illuminated the sky. Soon the words "Seven Luminaries Demon Emperor" appeared. Then, a huge celestial phenomenon appeared in the sky and gathered into the image of Nuwa. She said with a hint of dissatisfaction in her voice, "Seven Luminaries Demon Emperor, you are upright and fearless. You have obtained the approval of the Heavenly Voice Scroll. Today I will bestow upon you a first-class superior god Dharma body and the title, Mad God. You will control the heavenly Tao of the six realms. I will also bestow upon you the ability, Unyielding Bones. I hope that you will uphold kindness and protect the Mahayana heavenly Tao for all living beings in the world." Whoosh! A mad god celestial phenomenon descended from the sky and focused on the seven luminaries demon emperor. The seven luminaries demon emperor pointed at Nuwa and said in a low voice, "Don't act all high and mighty. I won't submit to you. This is my ability, why do I need you to bestow it to me? I have tolerated the demon realm for almost half a year before your Bulsh *T Mahayana heavenly Tao appeared. Where were you when the world was in danger? Who do you think you are, high and mighty heavenly Tao?" Nuwa's avatar looked a little angry and said, "You are now a true god of the Mahayana heavenly Tao. Try not to swear," the seven luminaries demon emperor said coldly. "I don't have time to bicker with you. I'm going to the Hall of Great Accomplishment to tell your heavenly voice scroll to choose more true gods as soon as possible. This world cannot tolerate any more chaos." Nuwa was speechless. She watched as the seven luminaries demon emperor disappeared before her eyes, but there was nothing she could do. The mad god naturally had to be wild and unrestrained. Otherwise he wouldn't be called the mad god. Chapter 1188. In the sky above the Hall of Great Accomplishment, thousands of winged Mara flew around, letting out deafening roars. Outside the hall, blood flowed everywhere. Xiao, Sun Feng and the others were all injured, but in order to protect the Hall of Great Accomplishment, they still fought to the death. Pooh! The sky that was originally shrouded in blood clouds was suddenly torn open, and a person descended from the sky. Behind him was a huge image of the mad god Dharma body. With a devastating attack, hundreds of Mara were instantly torn apart. The seven luminaries demon emperor's speed was extremely fast, and he landed on the blood-stained steps in front of the Hall of Great Accomplishment like lightning. He bent his body slightly and light swirled in his left palm. This was the prelude to the attack of the seven glorious stars. "Demon Emperor!" Xiao cried tears of joy. Sun Feng, Qingping and the others also knelt down. "Demon Emperor, you are finally back." The seven luminaries demon emperor gritted his teeth. This debt is not settled yet. In the next moment, the spirit mountain began to tremble. Rays of starlight seeped out from the surface of the mountain, transforming into the power of the stars that blasted towards the sky. Instantly, the two-winged devil Luo's screams rang out. Just a single seven glorious stars transformation had actually cleared out almost all of the devil Luos in the starry sky. In the sky, Mara's broken body continued to fall, as if it was raining blood. However, the seven luminaries demon emperor looked at the hundreds of steps in the Hall of Great Accomplishment, and saw the corpses of the Eastern Heaven Realm cultivators everywhere. His heart sank. Although he killed thousands of Mara, the Eastern Heaven Realm clearly suffered more. How many of us died? Asked the 7 luminaries Demon Emperor. Xiao said faintly, there are about 100,000 crippled gods in the Eastern Heaven Realm, and the dead account for about 70% of them. So many? Demon Emperor murmured, it's all my fault. If it wasn't to avoid Skylaw's punishment, perhaps I wouldn't have to be trapped in 8 Wasteland Realm, let alone let Eastern Heaven Realm suffer such a heavy blow. Sun Feng said, Your Majesty, we are willing to sacrifice ourselves for the Eastern Heaven Realm, you don't have to blame yourself. But don't worry. Now that I'm back, I won't let the Demon Realm encroach on my domain. The 7 luminaries Demon Emperor lightly shook his fists and said in a low voice, I will find a way to remove the heavenly punishment, and I will also search for the secrets of the Mahayana heavenly path so that you can regain your true god bodies as soon as possible. Yes, thank you, Your Majesty. Everyone knelt down one after another. There were at least 10,000 Eastern Heaven Realms crippled gods around the Hall of Great Accomplishment. They were almost all the elites of the Eastern Heaven Realm. At this moment, the faint sound of thunder came from the sky, and a huge figure descended from the sky. It was an image condensed from telekinesis, with white hair and a youthful complexion. It was Fuxi. Xiao, Sun Feng and the others seemed to know Fuxi. They quickly knelt down and said respectfully, Xiao, Sun Feng greets Your Majesty. Everyone knelt down again, only the 7 luminaries Demon Emperor stood proudly on the blood-stained steps, raised his eyebrows and said, Heavenly Emperor Fuxi, how did you become a Heavenly Emperor? The 6 realms are in trouble but you did nothing. Fuxi smiled gently and said, It's not that I did nothing but the things that I could do were too little. With my lifetime's cultivation and the abilities of the 4 great disciples of the Sun, Moon and Stars Palace, I could only guard the Metal Realm, so that the Heavenly Melody Scroll could enter the 6 realms. 7 luminaries Demon Emperor, your mission and mine are different. I need to guard the Metal Realm, while you need to sweep away all the demons of the God Realm in the 6 realms. What do you mean? Fuxi said, I just received news that you obtained the title of Mahayana Heavenly Tao, so I rushed here immediately. I hope you can go to the Northern Heaven Realm immediately. There, the former divine King Dongming and 70,000 soldiers are trapped in Dark Castle. Nearly 100,000 demons are attacking them, and only you can save them. Are you kidding me? The 7 luminaries Demon Emperor smiled. Dongming and I have always been sworn enemies. Now that Dongming sent Yangshang to the mortal realm with the celestial race's army, so many of Yangshang's people turned into demons, I haven't even settled this debt yet, and now you want me to save Dongming? That's impossible. I know better than anyone what kind of person Dongming is. Fuxi smiled. That's right, Dongming is a person who thirsts for power, but there is still kindness in the depths of his heart. The 4 celestial realms are already in trouble, and only by forming an alliance can we resist the invasion of the powerful demon realm. I can also tell you another piece of news. The Heavenly Sound Scroll has already acknowledged Dongming's potential. Soon it will naturally give Dongming the title of Mahayana Heavenly Tao. As long as you help him, Dongming will definitely be grateful to you and ally with your army to resist the power of the demon realm together. Is the demon realm that powerful? Only more powerful. A mere Mingshi can hold me back, and the overall strength of the demon realm is more than 10 times that of a Mingshi. Take Mara for example. In the demon realm, Mara's army numbers in the tens of millions. Do you think you can stop them all by yourself? The 7 luminaries Demon Emperor took a deep breath, feeling a chill in his heart and said, Then what benefits does it bring me to form an alliance with Dongming? Well, Fuxi did not say anything. The 7 luminaries Demon Emperor smiled. I understand now. Actually, you gods from the realm beyond heaven still have a certain amount of power to influence the Heavenly Melody Scroll, right? At least, the Heavenly Melody Scroll is activated by the power of you 3 ancestral gods. Since you want me to form an alliance with Dongming, I have a condition. I want you to use your own power to influence the Heavenly Melody Scroll, and let Xiao step into the Mahayana Heavenly Tao as soon as possible. Demon Emperor. Xiao was a little moved. Fuxi remained silent. After calculating with his fingers, he smiled. There's no need for me to control it. Within a month, Xiao Fairy will definitely step into the Mahayana Heavenly Tao. Alright, that's all I have to say. You can decide what to do. With that said, Fuxi's figure instantly turned illusory and disappeared. Humph, the gods from the realm beyond heaven, all of them come and go as they please. The 7 luminaries Demon Emperor clenched his fists. Xiao said, Demon Emperor, what do we do now? You guys, stay and rebuild the Hall of Great Accomplishment. I want to enter the other spirit mountains and kill all the Mara who invaded the Eastern Heaven Realm. Then I will go to the Northern Heaven Realm alone and save Dongming. I want to see what kind of achievements this uncouth Dongming has. Yes, I understand. Demon Realm, Fekta Temple. Demon General Ziyin, who was holding the God-destroying tower, stood majestically in the cold wind. Looking at the huge Fekta Temple, he felt an endless amount of power flowing into his body. He had reached an unprecedentedly powerful realm. He could not help but burst into laughter. Now I am the strongest in the demon realm. Two-winged Mara, shouldn't you all be loyal to me? In the sky, the black mass of two-winged Mara flew at an extremely fast speed like a rolling dark cloud. They all made a prostrating posture. They only respected the strongest. Since the God-destroying tower was in the hands of Ziyin, he was naturally the strongest. Right at this moment, a person parted the crowd of Moro and walked over. Her body was suffused with a faint demonic flame, and she held an exquisite battle axe in her hand. It was a woman, an enchanting woman from the devil world. The armor she wore was like a snake that coiled around her beautiful and delicate body. Her slender, snow-white legs were suffused with an intoxicating glow in the night sky. By Feng Holy King? Ziyin was taken aback, but he smiled. The God-destroying tower in his hand floated in layers and was enshrouded in a majestic radiance. Now that the God-destroying tower is in my hands, do you plan to resist me? The corner of Bai Feng's mouth curled up. The ancient demon emperor is cultivating underground and can come up at any time. Do you really think that you can rule the entire demon realm with just the God-destroying tower? Can't I? Ziyin burst into laughter. Then I'll let you experience it. As he spoke, Ziyin suddenly bent his body towards the ground and roared. The God-destroying pagoda in his hand shone brightly as he bellowed, "So what if you hide it well? If the God-destroying pagoda can create your throne, then it can destroy you." Boom. The light illuminated the entire sky. The God-destroying pagoda was enshrouded in dense energy. It transformed into layers of energy ripples as it smashed towards the ground. A beam of light penetrated through the surface of the earth and went straight into the earth's core, pointing straight towards the location where the ancient devil emperor was cultivating. Boom. The entire ground shook violently. Even the southern corner of the Fekta Palace started to collapse. The screams of Mara and the others were incessant. Ziyin, are you crazy? Bai Feng roared. Do you want to destroy the entire demon realm? Ziyin sneered. Bai Feng, Holy King, aren't you very loyal to the ancient demon emperor? Don't you think it's time for you to change masters? Call me master and I'll consider sparing your life after killing the ancient demon emperor. You. Bai Feng trembled in anger. At this moment, within the majestic radiance of the God-destroying tower, a person was forcefully sucked out from the ground. Under the baptism of the radiance, his body curled up and trembled as he screamed. It was the ancient demon emperor. The once insufferably arrogant demon had no way to retaliate against the power of the God-destroying pagoda. Ziyin, you bastard! Bai Feng bellowed. His palm conjured a raging flame and he launched a sneak attack at Ziyin. Unfortunately, the palm energy was dispersed by the radiance of the God-destroying tower when it was 3 meters away from Ziyin. The God-destroying tower was the ultimate divine weapon of the demon realm. Not only could it kill gods and Buddhas, it could also protect its user from harm. Do you really want to be my enemy? Ziyin suddenly turned around, his eyes filled with murderous intent. Bai Feng took a few steps back. His beautiful face was filled with fear. He did not speak anymore and stood in the air with his head lowered. Ziyin looked at the ancient demon emperor under the radiance of the God-destroying tower and couldn't help but sneer. For thousands of years I have been obedient to you, but you have never thought of raising my status in the demon realm. You have given all the purest darkness raw stones to Bai Feng, Qilin, and the other holy kings, but you have never thought of me. Today I will use your most beloved divine weapon to kill you personally. Under the bone-piercing radiance, the ancient demon emperor's body had already started to change shape. He roared angrily, Ziyin, you bastard who deceived your master and destroyed your ancestors. Aha, you just realized? Ziyin roared, and the radiance of the God-destroying tower increased. Instantly, the ancient demon emperor's body exploded in the air, and the fragments of his body turned into streaks of starlight. Ziyin had already flown forward, opened his mouth, and sucked in the remaining demonic aura of the ancient demon emperor. Instantly, his body trembled violently and blood-colored scales grew on his skin. The radiance in his eyes became even brighter. With the help of the god-destroying tower, Ziyan had devoured at least 50% of the ancient demon emperor's cultivation. The fights between people in the demon realm were much crueler than those in the celestial realm and the mortal realm. Bai Feng slowly knelt on the ground and muttered while crying, "Your Majesty, Demon Emperor, I am useless." Ziyan's eyes were filled with disdain. His current cultivation was already above Bai Feng's. He said indifferently, "Two-winged Mara, search the mountains and find the location of Shiyen and Eva, then report to me." Yes. In the sky, the tens of thousands of two-winged Mara scattered in the blink of an eye. Bai Feng, the Holy King, wore a small white cloak. He stood up and said, "Ziyan, Demon Emperor, what are your orders?" Ziyan's lips curled up and he smiled. "I have not tasted the taste of a woman in the demon realm, especially a woman of the Holy King's level. Tonight you shall sleep with me." Ah! Bai Feng was shocked. Ziyan's eyes were ferocious as he laughed loudly. "Look at how scared you are. I have no interest in women. Don't worry, you just have to listen to my orders. I won't touch you. I am a good demon." Bai Feng. Chapter 1189. Amidst the mountains in an inconspicuous cave, Shiyen hugged a broken sword tightly as she vomited blood continuously. That attack from the god-destroying pagoda had almost taken her life, but Shiyen didn't feel depressed at all. Instead, her face was filled with indescribable joy. She caressed the stains on the broken sword as streams of god power seeped into the weapon. Instantly, the blazing angel's power drew out the primordial spirit in the broken sword. Swish! Eva's primordial spirit floated out. It looked exactly the same as before, but it was much more haggard. "Sister Hyan." The moment Eva saw Shiyen, her face was already filled with tears. Shiyen gently raised her hand as if touching her face and said, "I'm late, I've made you suffer. Hey baby, tell me what happened?" The demon realm broke through the seal of the 6 realms. The moment I barged into the seal, I was captured by the ancient demon emperor. It was done by the ancient demon emperor himself? Eva, I will think of a way to revive you. I will find a perfect body for you and reconstruct your spirit lattice. Don't worry. No. Eva muttered, "Sister Hyan, my primordial spirit is too weak." The ancient demon emperor had refined almost half of my god power and converted my power into the energy of the god-destroying pagoda. My current primordial spirit is no longer enough to reconstruct my spirit lattice. Don't worry, you still have me. If I say it's possible, then it's possible. Shiyen gritted her teeth and said, "Rest for a while first. I will find a chance to bring you out of the demon realm. It will be much safer when we reach the 6 realms. I will also have a chance to revive you. But the ancient demon emperor will not let us off. Don't worry. The immemorial demon emperor is dead. He was killed by that lunatic Ziyan." Shiyen looked out of the cave and said, "If my guess is wrong, the other 3 holy emperors of the demon realm will definitely come to avenge the eternal demon emperor. Once they fight with Ziyan, we will have already left the demon realm during the chaos. Alright then, I'll follow elder sister's arrangements. Alright, you should rest quickly and recover your strength." Alright. As Shiyen had expected, the Fectus Sacred Hall was already in a mess before daybreak. Countless demonic auras flew toward the Fectus Sacred Hall from afar. They were densely packed and countless. The other 3 saint emperors of the demon world had already brought their armies to suppress the Fectus Sacred Hall. The powerful demon world had many internal conflicts. With the death of the ancient demon emperor, the demon world had become leaderless. Although Ziyan had the god-destroying pagoda, he was still too inexperienced. No one would think highly of a mere demon general. In the sky above the Fecta temple, Ziyan was hugging the god-destroying pagoda. Behind him were Bai Feng, the other 2 holy kings and countless Mara troops. They represented the power of the Fecta temple. In front of them the world was filled with Mara. The other 3 holy emperors also appeared in their field of vision. They were Jiujue Holy Emperor of Destruction, and Skirich Holy Emperor. Each of them had unfathomable cultivation, but they shared a common weakness. They were afraid of the god-destroying pagoda. None of them had the power to resist the god-destroying pagoda, but at the same time, they were unwilling to submit to the demon general Ziyan. Skirich Holy Emperor's huge body rolled over. His lower body flowed like a black river and he held a huge sword in his hand. "Are you the one who killed the ancient demon emperor?" "Yes." Ziyan nodded and smiled. Skirich Holy Emperor narrowed his eyes. "What exactly do you want to do? Unify the demon world?" "Yes, so what?" Skirich Holy Emperor couldn't help but burst into laughter. You're just a demon general. Even if you have the god-destroying pagoda, can you really unify the demon world? Let me tell you, black is black and white is white. Do you think a god-destroying pagoda can change your status as a demon general and make you a demon emperor? Can't I? Ziyan's smile was filled with ruthlessness. The god-destroying pagoda's energy had recovered and he could use it again. With a roar, he took out the divine weapon. Instantly, a majestic light descended from the sky and turned into a huge tarot that enveloped Skirich Holy Emperor's body. Skirich Holy Emperor screamed in pain. He quickly opened his palms and roared, "Demonic chi control, break for me." Streams of fiery red energy revolved rapidly and resisted the god-destroying pagoda. Skirich Holy Emperor's reputation as one of the 4 holy emperors was not undeserved. However, how could a single person resist the power of the entire demon world? In the blink of an eye, Skirich Holy Emperor's arm broke. He spat out blood and lost consciousness. His body started to shatter. At the same time he died, the power and essence in his body turned into demonic chi and was absorbed by Ziyan crazily. This time he could only absorb about 30% of Skirich Holy Emperor's power. Although he had the god-destroying pagoda to protect him, the powerful power still surged. Ziyan's skin burst open and blood flowed continuously. He looked like a devil. Bathed in the blood of Skirich Holy Emperor, he laughed loudly. He was in pain and excitement. He looked at Wuxia Holy Emperor and World Destroyer Holy Emperor with a ferocious gaze and roared, "Do you see that? This is the result of resisting me. I have already devoured the eternal demon emperor's power. Now, with the addition of Skirich Holy Emperor's power, do you think that my power is weaker than you? You are looking down on me too much." Ah. As he spoke, he licked the blood at the corner of his mouth. Ziyan continued, "Even though Eternal Demon Emperor has such a powerful god-destroying pagoda, he did not devour you. You should be glad that Eternal Demon Emperor is kind-hearted. Of course I am also kind-hearted. As long as the two of you swear loyalty to me, I will let you go. How about it?" Wuxia Holy Emperor clenched his fists. His body trembled but he did not speak. Very soon, he and God's destroying Holy Emperor knelt down together and said, "The two of us are willing to swear loyalty to you." Ziyan laughed loudly. "Now what should you call me?" "Ziyan Demon Emperor." "Oh no, Ziyan Ancestor Emperor." "Haha, that's more like it." Ziyan laughed sinisterly. "In the past everyone looked down on me. Now I want everyone to be afraid of me. I want everyone in the world to be afraid of me. I want the whole world to be under my feet." World-destroying Holy Emperor and Wuxia Holy Emperor looked at each other and saw worry in each other's eyes. Originally, Eternal Demon Emperor had planned to use the power of the 7 luminaries Demon Emperor and Eva to forge the god-destroying pagoda into a perfect divine weapon. By then, no one in the world would be able to resist the god-destroying pagoda. However, he was killed before he could complete all this. Although the god-destroying pagoda was powerful, it was not invincible. Ziyan's greed had caused chaos in the demon world. At the same time, it seemed to have given the Mahayana Heavenly Tao a chance to retaliate. The starlight dimmed. Among the mountains a figure flew away. It was Xiyan. She had already brought Eva's primordial spirit away from this ominous place as soon as possible. The longer they stayed in the demon world, the more danger they would be in. Behind them, a row of winged Mara screeched as they chased after them. However, their screeches did not attract Ziyan's attention. Ziyan was only concerned about establishing his might in front of the demons and had completely forgotten about Xiyan and Eva. In reality, Ancestor Ziyan, who had devoured 2 holy emperors consecutively and possessed the god-destroying pagoda, did not care about Xiyan and Eva at all. Even if Xiyan and Eva were at their peak, Ancestor Ziyan was confident that he could kill them within 10 moves. He indeed had the ability to do so. The power of the god-destroying pagoda was far beyond ordinary people's imagination. At the seal of the 6 realms, Xiyan, who was flying at full speed, was like a ray of cold light. As she flew into the chaos realm, she did not stop and flew towards the spirited mountain plain in the distance. Eva's primordial spirit's voice came from the broken sword. "Sister Hyan, where are you going?" "The Western Divine Realm." "What? That's our home, and the Western Divine Realm has long been massacred by Mara's army. There are no humans or gods now. The demon world will not expect us to hide in the Western Divine Realm. Your body needs a large amount of light god power to reconstruct. As long as I can find the light origin stone in the Western Divine Realm, I have the confidence to reconstruct your body. Can't you feel it, Eva?" The nomological power is recovering rapidly. The heavenly Tao that belongs to us has returned. Yes, it's the Mahayana heavenly Tao. Yes, don't talk. Rest well. I'm here for anything. Yes. At night, the Red Rock City's marshal's residence was quiet. It was rare that it did not snow. Lin Muyu stood in the courtyard, cultivating the star technique. His body glowed with faint starlight, as if he was plated with a layer of light. He was cultivating while Qin Yin and Tang Xiaoxi were brewing tea. The night was long and no one was in the mood to sleep. Many things seemed to have happened in the heaven realm. Tang Xiaoxi looked up at the sky and pursed her lips. The energy fluctuations are very strong, but we can't see it. The heavenly melody scroll might have become a god in the heaven realm. Xiaoxi, you're an orthodox god. Even you can't see it? Qin Yin was surprised. Yes, the nomological power of the Mahayana heavenly Tao is different. At this moment, Tang Xiaoxi suddenly opened her mouth and said, "Not good, something is coming. Mu, be careful." As she said that, Tang Xiaoxi's graceful body was already in the air. A flame descended from the sky. Shua, Tang Xiaoxi blocked it in the air. With a strong impact, she crashed into the ground. Just before she landed, Tang Xiaoxi forcefully resisted this force. A huge ice crystal appeared in her hands. What is this? Lin Muyu flew forward and asked. Behind her, a golden figure appeared. It was the 7 Luminaries' Demon Emperor. He smiled and said, "It's a demon shadow crystal." Brother Demon Emperor. Lin Muyu was surprised. You ascended to the Mahayana heavenly Tao? Yes. The Demon Emperor nodded with a smile. Are you long time no see? This is a Mahayana divine crystal. I asked Nuwa for it on your behalf. It can sense the power of the demon realm. Once someone from the demon realm approaches, it will glow. At the same time, it will be mixed with the nomological power of the Mahayana heavenly Tao. You can see the names of the orthodox gods of the Mahayana heavenly Tao in the crystal. Oh. Lin Muyu reached out and wiped the crystal. Indeed, there were 2 golden names in the depths of the crystal. One was Tang Xiaoxi, and the other was the 7 Luminaries' Demon Emperor. That's great. I can't stay any longer. I still have things to do. You have to work hard. Yes. The 7 Luminaries' Demon Emperor came and left quickly. In the blink of an eye, he disappeared. Mad God. Tang Xiaoxi pursed her red lips and said, "His avatar is stronger than mine." Chapter 1190. The return of the 7 Luminaries' Demon Emperors meant that the heaven realm would have a brand new structure. However, there were not many changes in the mortal world. The celestial pole continent still maintained the structure of the 3 empires. Moreover, the 2 higher gods, Tang Xiaoxi and Wuchang, maintained the confrontation between the north and the south. There would probably not be any changes in the short term. The only change was that the heavenly sound scroll seemed to be very stingy with the quota for the Mahayana heavenly Tao. On the contrary, the Book of Godhood was not stingy. Within a short month, another 3 people in the celestial pole continent obtained demonic bodies and were conferred the title of Demon God. On the 29th of April, Sima Jin of the Yangshang army ascended to become a first-grade medium demon god and obtained the title of Nightmare Demon God. For this, Yangshang held a banquet for 3 days and 3 nights to entertain his officials. On the 4th of May, another person in the Yangshang army obtained a demonic body. It was Lin of the North, a 3rd-grade medium god. He obtained the title of Demon God Destroyer and was immediately promoted to captaincy by Yangshang. On the 27th of May, another person in the Celestial Empire obtained a demonic body. Moreover, it was a 3rd-grade higher god. His name was Mao Yu. He was an executioner of the Heaven's End Corps. Mao Yu had killed countless people and had a good reputation among the executioners. On the day he transformed into a demon god, he killed his wife and son in a fit of rage. In the end, Qin Yu did not punish him with the empire's constitution. Instead, he was promoted to deputy commander of the empire. Although a 3rd-grade higher god was inferior to Tang Xiaoxi and Wuchang, it was too important to the Celestial Empire. It was practically a life-saving straw. On the 4th of June, the sound of war drums reverberated across the celestial pole continent again. With Wu Chang as commander and Sun Shi as military advisor, the Yangshang army mobilized 400,000 soldiers to attack Shiping City. The army set off on the same day and headed straight for Shiping City. The military report arrived at Shiping Prefecture early in the morning. At this time, Feng Jixing and the others did not need to be secretive. They set up a sand table in the conference hall of Shiping Prefecture and discussed countermeasures. Is the Winged Army's investigation true? Feng Jixing leaned over the map and asked after a careful look. Qian Feng, who was wearing the marshal's cloak, nodded and said, "The scouts of the Wing tribe are all my trusted subordinates and can definitely be trusted. This time Yang Shang has mobilized almost all of their forces. There are 120,000 steel cavalry, 200,000 infantry and 80,000 archers and siege troops. In addition, Wu Shang is personally supervising the battle. Sima Jin and Lin of the North are also here." I Feng said, "I'm not worried about Wu Chang." Feng Jixing said, "If Wu Shang were to participate in the battle, Princess Shi would be able to reach Shiping City in 2 hours at full speed. With Princess Shi around, there's no need to fear Wu Shang. What I'm curious about is why Yang Shang chose to attack us at this time. Don't they want to wait for spring to come and harvest the crops?" Ding Shi shook his head. "It snowed 3 days ago. It looks like we won't have the chance to plant crops this year. Yang Shang is different from us. Even if he has to eat people, he will still start this war. That's why he's not worried about food. But us, the 80,000 armor demons that Commander Qianfeng has stationed outside Shiping City consume a huge amount of food and meat every day. Every 3 days they consume the cows and sheep of a farm. There are only over 20 farms in the entire West Mountain province. If they continue to eat like this, I'm afraid that the country we've just established in the Celestial Pole mainland will be eaten up." Qianfeng smiled awkwardly. "The armor demons have always been like this. Once a war breaks out, aren't they also 1 against 10? Ding Shi smiled and said respectfully, "Commander Feng, what do you plan to do? Do we concentrate our forces to guard Shiping City, or do we take the initiative to attack and meet Yang Shang at the border of West Mountain Province and Tianji Province?" Feng Jixing thought for a while and said, "In the past 2 months, we have conquered the entire West Mountain Province. The 7 provinces in the north have also fallen into the territory of the Qin Empire. They are now citizens of the Qin Empire. We can't let them suffer from the chaos of war anymore. Let's take the initiative to attack. Pass down my order to deploy heavy troops at the forts at the northern border to meet the Shang army." Yes. Red Rock City. The moon and stars hung high in the sky. The snow in the cold courtyard had not completely melted. Qin Yin and Tang Xiaoxi had already gone to bed. In the courtyard, only Lin Muyu stood in the center of the lotus pond. His feet stepped on the surface of the water, but there were no ripples. He stood tall like a pine tree. The starlight continuously fell on his body and turned into his own. Lin Muyu took a deep breath and emptied his body and mind. He immersed himself in the starlight. The blood in his body slowly boiled, but it was not chaotic. It was the power of the blood-refining firmament that was suppressing the blood in his body. Today, Lin Muyu had already cultivated the blood-refining firmament to the extreme. After the 8th form of the star's arts, there was still the 9th form. It was also the most profound form of the star's arts. Lin Muyu had already memorized the mental cultivation method of the star's arts countless times over. He had also cultivated according to the mental cultivation method for many years. However, he had never broken through. His body slowly floated up along with the starlight. He was lying on his back in the lotus pond. The starlight plated his body. However, Lin Muyu's spiritual spirit seemed to have seeped into the starlight. Hua! The scene before his eyes suddenly brightened. It had actually turned into a peaceful land. White clouds lingered between the mountain ridges. The land was lush and green. There were plots of farmland, herds of cattle and sheep, and men and women weaving. The scene appeared and then disappeared again. Lin Muyu couldn't help but smile. He was in the middle of the war in the Blood Sea Purgatory. Now that he saw such a peaceful scene, he couldn't help but yearn for it. At this moment, the scene disappeared again and then reappeared. The scene of Miaojiang appeared in front of his eyes. It was a lake with rippling blue waves. There was a dense forest on the shore. There was a huge statue in the middle of the lake. It was a statue of a woman with a snake's tail. It was vivid and lifelike. Where is this? Lin Muyu walked on the water and walked under the statue. She looked up at the statue. There was an indescribable sense of familiarity. Rustle. The statue suddenly peeled off. The stone on the surface kept peeling off, revealing the bright skin underneath. In the blink of an eye, the woman in the statue had already woken up. She took a deep breath and opened her beautiful eyes to look at Lin Muyu. Her face was a little surprised. She said, "You are Lin Muyu?" "That's me." "You are?" Lin Muyu was stunned. How did this woman know her? The goddess smiled. "The world calls me Nuwa." "Nuwa." Lin Muyu respectfully said, "Greetings, Lady Nuwa." "No need to stand on ceremony." Nuwa smiled a little and said, Lin Muyu, do you know where this is? Junior doesn't know. This place isn't real, but it's the place I yearn for the most. Nuwa murmured, this is the manifestation of my dreamscape, and also the reflection of the Heavenly Melody Scroll. I call this place the Heavenly Melody Dreamscape. Only the most sincere and kind-hearted people will come here. Before you, no one has been able to come here. Tell me, how did you do it? Lin Muyu frowned and said, Junior was cultivating the star arts. I accidentally entered the Heavenly Melody Dreamland. Please don't blame me, lady. Why would I blame you? Nuwa smiled. Her smile was beautiful and charming. She said, I seem to understand. What do you understand, lady? Why did you find this place? Please enlighten me, lady. Nuwa smiled lightly. It's actually very simple. The Heavenly Melody Dreamland is the manifestation of my state of mind. You must have entered the dreamland during your cultivation. Your state of mind is connected to mine. This means that your wish is the same as mine. Now tell me, what is your wish? Lin Muyu thought of a small celebrity and said, World peace. Nuwa chuckled. This wish sounds strange and ridiculous, but it seems to be the truest representation of your heart. I know everything about you. You wish for peace and stability, but you are the one who initiated the war. You should also know that you are not the person that your state of mind yearns for, right? Yes. Lin Muyu stood on the surface of the water in a daze. He said, I can't sleep at night. Almost every night, I can see scenes of slaughter in my dreams. I can hear the cries of those who have died. They ask me why I started this war and what I obtained by doing this. As she spoke, Lin Muyu slowly knelt down in the water. Her body trembled slightly as the invisible force of an elephant rippled around her, creating layers of ripples. Nuwa smiled gently and leaned over to hug him. She said, Silly child, this is all your cultivation. If you don't start the war, more people will die because of it. You were born to fight, so why run away? People are born to experience all kinds of things, and everyone's experience is different. But the final destination is the same. This is reincarnation. If you can't see through this reincarnation, you will fall into pain. Even if you are the strongest in the world, you will still feel pain and blame yourself. Do you understand? Lin Muyu stretched out his left hand. King's combat flames rose. He wanted to turn these flames into divine power. But his hand hurt so much that he couldn't complete the transformation. He said with a trembling voice, I need more power to complete all this. Only then can I prevent the people I cherish from leaving because of war. I need power. Will the Mahayana Heavenly Tao approve of me? It will. Nuwa's voice was very gentle. She said, the fact that you can enter my Heavenly Voice Dreamland is enough to prove that you are the one chosen by the Heavenly Voice Scroll. It's just that your opportunity hasn't come yet. Don't be impatient, don't be discouraged, and don't die. The 6 realms need your power. The mortal world you live in needs your power even more. I understand. Lin Muyu slowly stood up and bowed. He said, Thank you, goddess. Go now, we will meet again. Nuwa's figure slowly disappeared, and Lin Muyu's body also slowly left the dreamland and returned to reality. He abruptly woke up from his dream. He actually fell asleep in the middle of cultivation. This was simply unimaginable. But Lin Muyu quickly felt a new power surging in his body. What is this? He raised his hand and strands of starlight gathered. The power was so strong that it even surpassed the blood-refining heavens. Let's give it a try first. He raised his palm and pointed it at the stone mountain not far away. Swish, swish, swish. The stone mountain didn't crack nor did it explode. But the stones quickly disintegrated into minerals just like how they were formed. A light breeze blew past, and the entire stone mountain instantly disappeared. Wasn't this power a little too strong? You're tuning in to the Han Lee's Wuxia Chronicles YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.